necessities of nature's recipes, but just the bare necessities of life. Take that back. Necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. Yeah, man. I mean, when you're high in the morning, you got your bare necessities. Something weird is happening here. Let me get ready. Good morning, Diana Freehilly. Wherever I wander, wherever I go, Christine seems to be there. My big home, the bees are buzzing in the trees for the Negroes, just for me. Take a glance at the fancy ants, because nature has all the solutions. The bare necessities for humans will come to you. Good morning, everybody. Come to you. Let me get ready. Bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and the side effects and politics. Just focus on the root cause and the root problems, and you don't have to worry about who the president is, because it's a banana republic. It's a corporation. So when you pick a pawpaw and a prickly pear, and then you prick a raw paw, next time beware. Oh, I gotta change my background. Don't pick the prickly pear with the doo-doo. That's doo-doo, and it's a manure sprayer. Did you be appalled if you picked it and you said $2,000 a month? Now it's only $1,400. He was lying to you all the time, and that's how it works. That doesn't make me a Trump supporter. All right, good morning, everybody. Bare necessities. I want to focus on the bare necessities. I'd love to talk about root problems this morning. The song's not over. The simple bare necessities, people just need land and seeds and water and a house. And just to focus on why the politicians don't ever talk about the root problems, because they're lying to you about everything. Why? Because they're part of the system. The bare necessities of life. Yeah, man. All right, bare necessities of life. Good morning, everybody. Woo, Lord have mercy. Did y'all know there's something out there called mass knee? I didn't know that the mass knee was a thing. Apparently, the mass knee is a thing. I'd love to do a little romp on. This is a manure spitter, by the way, just to let y'all know, because it's important. Why are you talking about manure spitters? They want you to talk about the manure spitters. Like, yeah, they do. People talk with this. You're not supposed. Don't talk about politics. They want you to talk about it. But then, how do you let people know that that's doo-doo if you don't talk about it? Then people fall into doo-doo everywhere. Nah, you gotta let people know. People walk like it's going for like a nice little Sunday walk underneath the spray, because people still believe it. So you got to talk about it, and they want you to talk about it, which is good. I just talk about it from a different perspective. Like, that's doo-doo. There's some drama unfolding on my timeline. Not really. It's not really drama to me. I just look at it and just like, okay, people still believe in it. Just sit back in the crowd, in the audience, and I'm just kind of critiquing all the monkeys fighting over the politics. And Joe Biden or Jivin Bowden done pulled the carpet from under everybody, like, the $2,000 a month is gone now. Yes, it's gone. You never's gonna get it. You never's gonna get it. I personally have a theory on that. I was watching Ron Paul this morning. I kind of want to go over to that. But he was talking about mass knee. Y'all heard about mass knee? Mass knee, as if the United States Incorporated and all the children around the planet ain't got enough problems. They had to worry about acne and slavery. And now they got to worry about mass knee too. Mass knee is when you get the bumps and all of that stuff around here because you're violating the flora and the fauna in your mouth and the bacteria in your lungs because you're rebreathing something that your colonizer told you're supposed to. Oh, Lord have mercy. So it's called mass knee. It has a name. And I was thinking about it from root. This is why no politicians talk about root problems. They always talk about side effects, because usually they're subsidizing the people who cause the problem. Where did acne come from? Y'all remember acne? It came from the junk food the government was subsidizing. And instead of not subsidizing it, instead of stopping subsidizing it so people could have like natural things to put in their kids' mouth, not candy and chocolate and bad food and oily substances in the food, they decided, we're going to subsidize the cream and the pill makers to solve the acne. We need to solve the acne problem. It's not a problem. It's just a business. All you got is a corporation. Corporation, you don't actually impeach anybody. They just fire you. It's all show. And the other thing is, so with Mastny, same thing. They subsidize the same crap that ended up in acne as a child, that you kept the habits as an adult. Now that gave you cardiovascular disease. Now you're dying because you're scared of something out there in the air. And now you got the Mastny. And they're not gonna stop subsidizing the stuff that causes Mastny or acne or cardiovascular disease. They just going to subsidize the cream makers to not solve the problem. And to me, it's hilarious to me. I just sit back and I watch the people go back and forth. It's not funny. It is funny. It's not funny. It's dark. It's a dark comedy that people think that these people are here to help you. They're just here to make money. Good morning, Andrea. How you doing? Good morning. Lots of laughter. You should be a songwriter. No, I should not. Andrea. Nope, they shoot me. They shoot me right from start because I think it's all bullshit. And I think the DNC loves Trump. They love Donald Trump. Oh my God, do they love him? I said that 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and I'm gonna keep saying it. They love him to death. They love him like they loved him 5 years ago. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you will add. See, I think the Republicans and they got a passive aggressive relationship with him. But the DNC loves Donald Trump. People, I have never seen anybody get fired because that's all it is as a politician and gain more support. Are y'all watching what's going on here? Are y'all watching them turn this man into a demigod? They're about to impeach him for the third time or something with the Senate and Congress, some other departments of the United States Incorporated. This man is gaining more support. Hey, the DNC loves this man. The Democrats hate him. The Democrats is the people. They're the people. They don't know what the hell is going on. The DNC loves him. You know why? For the same reason I told you 5 years ago. Because they don't have to change anything when he's around. They got their perfect demigod. They got their perfect controlled opposition, so they don't have to change anything. That's just how that works out. People don't seem to say. I'm just sitting back watching it like I'm watching the circus. I'm watching the Banana Republic. Like y'all just slipping on bananas here because the people at the top, there's only one political party. They're all on the same side. And the only thing that was different about Trump is he's a little funnier because he wasn't a legislator and a lawyer. And so he just wasn't the best actor. But it's all controlled opposition. Good example. There's $2,000 a month that just disappeared. Oh, Jimmy Dore had a great show on that, by the way. We can put that too. The $2,000 a month. The only reason why it was a conversation after the Democrats or the Democrats and Republicans were going to give you $1,400 is Trump said, yeah, you should give them $2,000. And people like, yeah, we should get $2,000. And now that $2,000 is back to being $1,400 because Jiving Bowden was just jiving with you. And so, but if you stop and think about, it's a manure spitter, right? That's a manure spitter, right? You know, this is why you don't join teams and you got to talk about the scam. The only rule in Fight Club is to not talk about Fight Club. So what you got to do is talk about it. I know people say, yeah, they just want you to talk about it. Yeah, but from a certain perspective, I just sit back and I look at it like, you know, that's doo-doo and that's a sprayer. That's what it is. No, don't walk under it. Don't vote for it. Don't clap for it. Do not leave it anywhere close to your children. And don't let it sniff your damn children. That damn sniffy Joe. Another example in that. Bear trap. If it's the bear trap, y'all walking out, going for a hike in the woods and stuff, and you see a bear trap. You're supposed to talk about the bear trap. You know why? Because you have a predator that's hoping that your friends step in it. Why? Because the predators want you to step in and get trapped so the wolves can come eat you and devour you. And then you got the hunter. He set the trap and he wants you to not talk about it because, you know, he wants you to get trapped, but he doesn't want the bear to get you. He wants to get you. And that's like Democrats and Republicans. They set a trap. They set a trap. And if we don't warn people, people are going to step in that trap and they're going to get eaten. Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. You know what? So we go so many places. This is going to be a race 4 years, y'all. It's going to be a race 4 years. I'm sorry. I know y'all don't like it when I talk about race, but we got to, because that was their qualifier. Donald Trump is not qualified because he's racist. And I'm like, you know, who we bombing? Mogadishu? We bombing somebody. Mogadishu or somebody. I forgot. No, it's the one where the helicopter crash. Y'all remember that movie? The helicopter crash? And Sniffy Joe, he's bombing the hell out of them people. You know they brown people. I don't know if y'all know this, but they brown people. You know why that is? Same reason Obama put AFRICOM out there. Same reason Donald Trump did not stop AFRICOM out there. Why? Because brown people with gold is scary. It just sounds kind of racist to me. I don't know. It's not racist because the DNC doesn't do it. It's racist because it's racist. They don't want brown people with their own central banking. It's not because they're brown. It's just because they got too much gold. And the Rothschilds can't compete with that. So that's why Obama killed Gaddafi. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's just how the world works. The world works on money, power, and control, not politics. Yes, Black Hawk down. There you go. Somalia. Thank you, Heather. Thank you. Goodness great. That's why I appreciate y'all here. Because there's so much funny stuff happening. I can't keep up with it. Hey, good morning, Susie Rosenberg. Good morning. Good morning. Who is this on Twitch? Want to become famous? No, I do not. Famous people who say anything true get shot. That's why when you're famous, you got to pick a side effect to discuss. Not any root problems. Who is that? Oh, Nicola, or who is that? Somebody, a troll or a robot or something on Twitch. Whatever your name is, robot. If you get big, you can't talk about root problems. That's why there's never been a politician in U.S. history that I know of. JFK-ish, he might have kind of danced around some actual root problems, but my whole 29 years of life watching these criminals in the United States Incorporated, they have never talked. There's never been one politician that talked about root problems. They always talk about side effects. You hear what I'm saying? They always talk about acne. We got to fight acne. We got to fight mass need. We got to fight it, not just prevent it. Root problems. People need the bare necessities: land, water, house, be left the hell alone. That's all people need. They don't need nothing else. They always debate over the side effects. You know why? Because they make money from the duct tape companies. Y'all know the duct tape fixes everything. Money fixes everything. They create the problems to not solve the problems, to get people debating over the side effects. You know, should the manure spitter be red or should it be blue? Those are the only allowed discussions when you get popular. So I have no interest in being popular. I'm just enjoying the show, sitting back, watching them ride out. Hey, new disease, new money to make. Yes, amen, Chris. That's how it works. It's just a corporation. It's just a corporation. And people, I don't know why. I think they've desensitized people, Christine, here, because when you say it's a corporation, people are like, yeah, I know, America's a corporation. I know, I get it. America's a corporation. Like, but you're missing the point. You're missing the point. It's a corporation. You don't impeach people from a corporation. You just fire them. This is all a show. It's just a corporation. They're all employees, and it's a for-profit incorporation. Good example. I need to change my background because I can't look at doo-doo all the time. I can't talk about politics all the time because it's just do. Y'all know where Godzilla came from? Godzilla came from that time where we decided it was a good idea to create massive thermonuclear devices to murder millions of people. And this is kind of on point for today, and just the world we live in. And now it's a hot topic now that Iran is making nukes again. What was I watching? Kim Iverson, I think I watched this morning, and she was talking about how I wasn't watching, I was listening. I was driving into slavery this morning, and no houses tried to hit me, so it was a good ride in through all the snow and shoveling. She was talking about how they said Iran is, oh my God, Iran is a few weeks from nuclear weapons. And that prompted my first post this morning. What the hell does that got to do with me? They ain't got nothing to do with me. There's nothing. I don't care if Iran gets nukes. Why should I care if Iran gets a nuclear device? How does that change my day at all? Somebody tell me. I really don't care. I don't care if Iran gets nukes, Mogadishu gets nukes, Israel gets nukes, Palestine gets nukes. The United States Incorporated is a for-profit corporation, and they're the only people who've atom bombed me, bro. They're the only people who've atom bombed people on the planet. I'm a little worried about the United States Incorporated being a for-profit corporation having nuclear devices. That's a good idea at this moment in time. It's not profitable for them to drop them, so they're not dropping them. If it becomes profitable, they will. So I don't really care if Iran has nukes. It's just not my thing. Actually, that goes a little too far. I won't go that far. I hope Iran gets nukes. I actually do, because when everybody got the same weapons, then nobody used them. I think everybody should all have no weapons, no governments have any militaries, or every government should have the same exact powerful militaries. That's why I believe in the open source world. Why? Because when you have an open source world, there are no secret war making murder monkey technologies. And if all the monkeys got the same level of technology, then nobody goes to war. I love that solution for the same reason I think I'm starting to love Bitcoin, the philosophy of it, not the actual thing, the blockchain philosophy of it, because you take away the corporations' abilities to print endless money to make nuclear weapons and to rebuild worlds that they blow up in nations that they blow up. That's the only reason why we're in endless wars now, because they blow up once again, back to Christine's point. They cause the problem to go back in and solve the problem. They print the money and they got free slaves to go rebuild the infrastructure. They do it all over the world. Good morning, everybody. Anyway, it's slow to start up here. A lot of people don't know. Why did my screen just go dead? Am I plugged in? I've been writing software all weekend. We're going to get back to a point where we're going to have to fly in emoticons without Zuckerberg, who did his job. He did his job throwing me off of the platform. It's not a bad idea. What did he throw me off? He told me I couldn't live stream for 30 days. I'm going to do 60 or more. I'd love to never do a live stream there again because I want to support free speech platforms a little more. Hang on. I got to get plugged in here. Until I'm plugged in, this is weird how the wire does it. I don't want it to not charge and shut off. Yeah, becoming independent. But the difference with the flying icons I'm going to do, I've been kind of keeping some secrets to myself, is that you'll be able to make your own icons. I think I'm still going to approve them, or I'll have somebody else approve them. And it won't be somebody like Bofun or somebody that just take it too far, like Coco. Those are my friends, they take it too damn far. I don't know, it'd be neat to have icons that are custom. So I'm going to take the idea and take it a little bit further so the icons will be flying by. Because I find that I use those. The only reason I'm a little annoyed when I can't stream on Facebook, and I might be able to, I'm just not going to. Because the last time they said that, 2 days later, they took it off and I could. I'm not even going to try. I'm not doing it. Because it's control. I don't like control. Like I've realized the flying icons are ways I interact with my friends. And that's how I know when I say something, I may not be on point or I am on point or it's pissing somebody off or it's funny. And that's that interaction piece. And so when we aren't on Facebook, I don't have the quick response interaction as I do when I'm here. But very soon, I'm almost done the software. We'll have that here, but it'll be more custom. So I don't like control. I'm obstinate when it comes to that. I just don't want anyone to control me. All right, as I play with the power, it's going to do weird things on the screen. So hang on, I'm going to get it right. We're going to get it right. Now, it's just not a plug-in laptop. I don't have that kind of a slavery device. I have to play with it a little bit because the cord has a short in it, and I've been working on fixing it. And I haven't had enough time, probably because I was writing software. Hang on. I'm gonna get it right. Hold on. Give me a moment. Don't burn the cord. Got these oils going in the background. Let's plug that in. Oh, there's another good one on the sheriff. Did y'all see the sheriff this morning? That was a good video as well. He's a sheriff in Arizona. Very important for you to have your children around or in a place that has a good sheriff. The most important politician is the sheriff in the world. Not in the world, but in the United States Incorporated. That's the only one, that's the man with the gun that's supposed to look out for your kids and do the right thing. That's the man who is supposed to stand up and say, no, we're not going to do this because I have an oath to the Constitution and I can't do this to you. If you want these lives to matter, you want to make sure you pick a sheriff who thinks that your life and your rights matter. And you're good to go. Most important politician is the sheriff. So wherever you go, it's a factor if you're trying to escape where you are and end up in a place where there is a little more safety and freedom and security for your children, where you don't have to be abused and get masked-me, is you want to look at who the sheriff is in that neighborhood, who the sheriff is in that town. I'm still playing with it. We're gonna get. Usually the light cuts on when I get it right. I just got to get it in the right position, and it's not in the right position. Hashtag that's what she said. All right, hang on. I can't find the spot. I can't find the spot. Hang on. Let me find the spot. Hey Jackie, good morning. I look at comments while I'm trying to get this straight. Trump was always a Democrat. See, Jackie, and this is why I love you, because you're just being honest. He's a Democrat. One of my friends on my thread kind of getting a little nutty because, like, you're a Trump supporter. He's still yelling that at me. I'm like, no, Trump was a Democrat his whole life. I just feel like they're working together because everything I look at is a debate over side effects, and he's great controlled opposition. Now, maybe he changed his mind and he is a little more defiant. Maybe he's trying to build his own kingdom, but you know, the discussion is over $2,000, is over $2,000 or $1,400, not over whether or not they have the right to decide who lives and dies and create a Hunger Games, whether or not human beings get land and ecosystems. That's why I think it's always controlled opposition. The Republicans don't like him because maybe they know that he's actually a Democrat. And the Democrats love him because all the conversations are controlled. They can argue over duct tape as opposed to something else. And maybe he changed his mind. I don't know. But they're literally making that man a god status. He's becoming a demigod. Every time they say something bad about him, he gains more voters. Why? Because people hate Democrats. No, they're not Democrats. They hate the DNC. And so even people sitting on the side are like, well, wait a minute. Well, if we hate you and you don't like him, then yeah, we're going to get behind him. They're doing a horrible things, right? Okay, there we go. There we go. No. Yep, there we go. There we go. I think I got it. All right. Whew. Now the video play should smooth out. It was getting a little janky. Anyway, absolutely. Trump was always a Democrat. I just enjoy the show, Jackie. This is what I was trying to tell my friends. The only reason I enjoyed Trump because he was funny. I like to laugh. And I got a lot of laughs in the last 4 years. It was funny when they did the Trump balloon, and I laughed at that. Now I'm laughing at Sniffy Joe. Because Jim Crow Sniffy Joe. I think that's the name. Jim Crow Sniffy Joe. That's going to be his name from now on. And Jivin Bowden. Because I always make fun of whoever is the president. That's just what I'm supposed to do. I'm an anti-establishment. I don't believe in having a for-profit corporation dictate anything to anybody. Two wings of the same bird. They are Diane Free Haley. They're two wings of the same doo-doo bird. Just flying around the planet, just doo-dooing. Y'all know that Diane, did you know that the birds, they look for clean cars because the clean cars are shiny? Remember that commercial where the birds were like chasing the guy because he just washed his car? It's a doo-doo bird. And it just looks for anything clean, anything right, anything that's nice, anything that actually works. And they just want to doo-doo all on it. They think clean cars are water. Birds are sustainable creatures. They like to poo in water. And when your car is shiny, that's why they chase you and they poo on your car. And that's like Democrats and Republicans. That's the part of the bird that they are, because anything that works, anywhere that is freedom and people, self-elected governments, democracy, any of that stuff, they just fly around the world and just doo-doo all on it. You know, any towns in America where it's freedom, the kids are free, they got enough land, everybody's doing good, you're grazing your cattle over here, you're selling your what do they call it, free cigarettes, loose cigarettes, and then they just figure out a way to doo-doo on it. But anywhere, anything, because they got to break things so they can hire other for-profit corporations to not solve the problem, but to mask the side effects to make more money. And that's the whole unsustainable world that they built up on that philosophy. That's going to completely collapse, ignoring the root problems and just talking side effects. MSM, manure spreading morons. Yep, Diane, they all are. That's it. It's a Sniffy Joe. I was asking a good brother the other day on the thread, the one that y'all fussing with. Some people are fussing with him. I'm not fussing with him. I'm enjoying the conversation. I put the scenario out there. He said, well, you're calling Sniffy Joe a pedophile. I said, I did not say that. Other people might say that. I don't think I've ever said that. I am not educated enough in the disciplines to diagnose what the F is wrong with all your masters. I don't diagnose. I just look and I say grown men should not sniff children. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying that there's a wire that's just not connected right. It's got a little short. It's kind of like my power cable. Something ain't connected. Something ain't working there. And so I tried to ask him another way. I said, well, what would you do if when your kids were young? Because our kids grew up together a little bit. And he has two girls. I said, what would happen if Snippy, you just I don't know, you were at the gym. We used to go to the gym together, play basketball. And when you left your kids, because they had this little, the kid thing in the gym, you left your kids in the kid thing in the gym, and they were just playing with blocks and stuff and doing the thing. I don't know, say they're 5 years old, 6 years old, and you're done working out and you come back. And I said, what would happen if you just saw a grown man just standing there, just sniffing behind their ear? Like he was getting off on it or something. Oh, you would lose your mind. Because I know this dude. He would kirk the F out exactly how I would. He would beat the dude silly. And so would I. I am a hippie only for moments. When I see people hurting children, I'm not a hippie. I'm probably one of the most dangerous people you do not want to be around. I don't like people who hurt children. That's the only way to really get me pissed off. And he didn't answer the question. Okay. And then his brother came in because he has a twin brother, and they work in teams. And he swooped in. He said, "Well, he's that way because something." What he say? Had something about he had problems in his life. He had, and so he's just a sensitive man. He's sensitive, and I'm like sitting here like, all right. But I get that. There are some sensitive people who are like touchy feely, and it doesn't mean that they're crazy. I think Michael Jackson was one of them. Just had some problems when they were young, they're touchy feely. I get that. I'm just not going to give that credit to the man that wrote the crime bill that put millions of brown and white children and Hispanic children in prisons, gave them problems, gave them HIV, basically a genocide, destroyed 2 generations, they say, of black youth. And I'm not going to give him that he has some problems. That's not, I kind of feel like if you behind brown genocide or white genocide or blue genocide, if you're behind genocide at all and you wrote the crime bill, I'm not going to give you that credit there. That's just too far, way too far. So it's Sniffy Joe, because that's the best we can do. How it's a banana republic, and they want a bunch of bananas in the republic. Everybody eating bananas. It's just a for-profit corporation. That's all it is. For-profit corporation. Good morning, Heather. Sniffy Joe. Somalia, that's the one. And so I asked the question, Heather, I said, well, is it racist now that he's bombing brown people? And obviously it's not racist when Sniffy Joe bombs brown people, but it's racist when Donald Trump does it. So I just, it's just, to me, people saw too many hypocrites. And so they qualified, I didn't start the racial thing. I didn't start the racial racism qualification, whether or not your executive orders and your laws are racist. I didn't do that. They started that with Donald Trump. And so we should continue that on. So we'll qualify everything he does. How racist is this? Like, we could do that every day, I bet you. And we can find everything that he does is against brown people. And Paul, well, and it's a socioeconomic thing. Like, it's not against brown people. It's just against the people who can't defend themselves. If you can't defend yourself and you got oil, minerals, or resources that they want to steal, they're just going to steal them. And so that's like a systemic leftover from colonization, But yeah, I think we should do that. I know my friends don't want to do that. They hate talking about race. I just like the manure spitter. What's the new manure spitter? Hold on. I think it's kind of like the manure spitter. You kind of got to talk about it just because it's there, right? You don't have to believe in it. You don't have to pick a team, what color you want it to be, what kind of doo-doo in it, was rabbit doo-doo, cow doo-doo, horse doo-doo. Like, the question is whether or not you want a manure spitter just spraying all over the planet, right? And that's what I think we have to do. I think we have to talk about it, because otherwise they're going to keep using these narratives against reality. Black Hawk Down. Yep, Heather, that was the name of the movie. They racist AF. They always are. And it's not because they don't like brown skin. It's not because the other side doesn't like white skin. It's just because it's emotional and it works. And the only way you get intelligent people doing stupid stuff is you got to make them emotional. Hey, Desiree, good morning. How are the horses and the cows and the donkeys? And she's got a whole bunch of animals out there. We need to have a conversation, because I'm about to get out of Dodge. And when I get out of Dodge, eventually I want me a horse. I want me a 50-gallon hat. Do they still sell those? What else do I want? I probably want some goats. go the bare necessities, right? Like what is it? And so this fits with what I'm talking about right here is if you can take care of yourself, you're strong. You got the bare necessities. You don't need a consenting for-profit corporation governing you. You can just wait till you get a republic again, or you can stand up for it. That's the only thing that these corporations don't want is they don't want you buying their products and their bullshizzle. So you get the diseases and the problems that they want to also collect a check to not cure, but to give you some cream for later. So when we focus on root problems, bare necessities, we actually can solve real problems instead of let them duct tape the system because they're all part of your establishment. And so that's why we have to go back to bare necessities. We got to go off grid, people. In every way, we got to go back to blockchain type societies where everybody is self-empowered. That real republic model. We have to go back to being a republic, and we're never going to get there as long as you need their creams and their face diapers or face nappies. And then you get mass nappy. What would you call that in the UK? They call them face nappies. So you would get nappy knee instead of acne, because if it's here, you got acne and mass knee. There is acne and nappy knee. How unsustainable is the world? We got to keep making up words for the problems they create. The fake problems, the problems. Cutting the grass and mowing the lawn all day, every day. Well, and that's another thing, Jackie, is nobody should be cutting any damn grass. The bees eat from the things that grow out the grass, and the bees pollinate the food. That's another unsustainable thing. They get everybody to cut their grass, then they complain about fossil fuel caused climate change. And then the food prices go up because there aren't enough bees around. And so they have a solution for that called GMO and pesticides. So yeah, so farmers can grow more. And it's like, well, you know what? You probably have more food if you would stop killing the bees by making everybody cut their grass or fining them, because it's a Victorian thing. That's where grass cutting came from, right? It was the very wealthy people, the one that everybody's mimicking, right? They didn't have to grow food in their lawns, and so it was a virtue. It was not a virtue signal. Technically, that is a privilege signal that my grass is cut and I'm not a poor person. I don't have to grow mint and herbs and tomatoes. I buy those things from slaves, and so they get everybody to cut their grass because it keeps the price of houses high enough so homeless people can't buy them, and high because there's this perceived thing that we do from the psychology of everybody wanting to eat the rich, everybody wanting to be the rich, who don't really have a problem with the rich. So yeah, we shouldn't cut grass, but that's another good example, right? And this is why I stand by this statement. Now, I'll read comments and see if y'all disagree, but I've never heard a politician talk about the root problems. Because if they actually talk about the root problems, then they have to talk about root solutions. They want to talk about biased side effects so they can just patch up the system and duct tape it and keep it. That's how money is made. They're just actors. They're not politicians. They're acting politicians. You don't have a government, you got a corporation. They keep each other in balance with having the same weapons. Who pushes first? And that's what I want, Christina, balance. Why? Because Iran is full of my cousins. Why in the hell would I want them not to have something to defend themselves? I have no issue with Iran having nukes. I have no issue. Iran should have a Pentagon with the same exact powers as we have. Then guess what? Then the politicians would have to do something, Christine, called talk. They'd have to do something really weird. It's really weird, Christine. Say like you live next door and we had issues, like we had strife. You didn't like my chickens were making too much noise or something. I don't like his damn chickens. They loud as hell. I'm sick of this. And there was no way that you could just blow me up and blow my house up with nuclear weapons. You'd have to come talk to me. Like, all right, well, I'll sit down and I'll talk with you, Christine. What you want to talk about? Your chicken's too damn loud. I'm tired of all this clucking and roostering in the morning. Okay, I get that. And I'm kind of, sick of you cutting your grass all the time. I got a garden and I want some bees to pollinate, but you killing off the bee population because you cut your grass to the code of the township. How about this? How about, it's called negotiating, right? They force citizens to do something called negotiate, being mature, being intellectual as adults and actually solving problems, right? If Christine just had a nuke, she could just press the button like, I'm sick of Gerard, just beep, and the problem is gone. And so that's why I'm okay with the world's powers, superpowers, all the world's countries should all have equal weapons from an open source society, because then there would never be any war. And that's a good idea. That's how you get world peace. How do you get world peace? Is everybody having nukes. That's how you get world peace. And I'm fine with that. So I have no issue with Iran having nukes. But according to Kim Iverson, and we could look at that if y'all want to look at that, she has a theory that they already have nukes. And that kind of made sense to me. But they already got them. They're not weeks from getting nukes. They already got nukes. And that's why we pull up and we pull back, because we're not going to invade anybody with nukes. Well, because, well, one, because they might get a nuke over here. I mean, politicians are actors for a corporation like in Hollywood. However, they got family that live here. So, of course, they don't want here to be nuked. But probably more important, corporations don't want there or here to be nuked, not because of the people, but because of the resources. You nuke a land, you're probably going to destroy a whole bunch of resources and irradiate it, so they can't go in there and mine it and steal it afterwards. Because usually when they invade a nation, they first send them stimulus. They send stimulus to the warlords to start toppling the nation so they can put in a puppet government. They find someone that they can promote into a puppet position that will give the minerals away to the billionaires around the world, or give them to them at a great price for that black market called Wall Street, which is a Ponzi pyramid scheme, and it's all stolen goods. We realize that from GameStop. And so they'll find someone to send stimulus over there as much as they need, not how they do for Americans. That kid, Sniffy Joe, told y'all $2 grand. He told you $2 grand and he pushed it back. But they push it back down to 1,400. He just lied about it, you know, because they're going to starve you as much as they can, because that's their job. Their job is to break the US dollar so they can push you over to a digital currency, because it's easier to control you from a digital currency. And the dollar was the last scam, and they got to give you the new scam. So they got to break the back of Americans, and you're not going to break the back of people giving them money. You're not going to force them to go get a jab unless they're broke. Then you can say, okay, well, if you want the money, then because the whole economy is destroyed, then you got to do what I say. It's all slavery, and that's kind of racist. It's a little racist. It's a little nationist, racist, and all that other stuff. But what they'll do is confessions of an economic hitman, right? They'll send as much money as the warlords need to go blow people up and destroy towns so they can put in a puppet government afterwards. So yeah, I don't think that, but I think if everybody had nukes, everybody had the same weapons, then it forces them to do what they force us to do, negotiate, talk to problems. Like I find it funny here, Christine, that people can go work with people they hate, but they can't get along with them on social media. Like they can literally go sit next to people that they hate, drink coffee, go to the Ventura, eat lunch together, work on projects, spreadsheets, PowerPoints, and be totally effective for the corporation for a buck, for a paycheck. But on social media, they act like just they hate each other and it's crazy. We can't be friends. I got to report you. Yeah, there you go. The Hegelian dialectic. Yes, that is exactly what it is. And this is why Democrats and Republicans are two wings of the same for-profit bird. You know, and that just means if you like Jive and Bowden, that I'm a Trump supporter, and if you like Trump, then I'm a Jive and Bowden supporter. That's what that means. That I just call bullshit on the whole system. Jared on Facebook. Thank you, Christine, and I'll be careful what I say to not get you in trouble. I don't know how you shared it. You're in Facebook Bridgel too. Read Dr. Seuss, the Butter Battle book. I used to read Dr. Seuss all the time. Exactly correct. We all have the same weapons. There's nothing to fight. And so the fun thing about that, Heather, is if all the nations have the same weapons, there's no fight that's going to occur. But then negotiations are over real topics, not the side effect issues. And I think the real topic is people just want the bare necessities. And if all the nations have the same exact militaries and nobody can go to war, then the only real discussions is, well, why do we want to go to war to begin with? Well, I'm trying to go get more land, more wealth from my people, trying to help my economy, my GDP or whatever. And so I can't go steal it because we don't have the weapons. It means we got to talk about, well, how do we help people have the lives that they want without robbing other people? And it just means that you have to start using your technology to automate food growing, automate building houses, automate releasing free energy. Which we know is a thing. It's funny. I got a text message this morning. Somebody told me, Jive and Bowden did something. Hold on. I don't think John Bowden did it. Stiffy Joe. Something about, oh, the oil market is collapsing. We're going to move to free energy. And like, no, that's not how that works, mister. That's not how your world works. What I get this morning? Exxon Mobil recorded its first annual loss since Exxon and Mobil merged in 1999, and it wasn't a no worries, we'll get them next time kind of loss. The energy company shed $22.4 billion as the pandemic hammered demand for fossil fuels. Last year presented the most challenging conditions Exxon has ever experienced, says the CEO Darren Woods. Exxon, and then the person's making a guess, and they're saying Exxon has always been a major player. Does this signal the shift from fossil fuels taking effect? Dun, 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 something good in monkey world. And I'm like, no, it does not. That is not what that means. It means that they just abuse you, made you stay inside so people weren't driving cars. They're going to get their money back. The United States Incorporated is an oil company with a military. And one of the biggest families that dictate to them are the Rockefellers. That's who makes all the oil profits, and that's who makes the mask everyone's got on their faces that's behind Massey. They're a cartel. They are. There's no reason for them to. Like that. That's how my mind works. There's no reason for them to shift us over to from fossil fuels. Why would they do that? Fossil fuels are the shackle that they have on us and our children. That's the thing that enslaves us. That's what most wars are over right now, right? Because a buddy of mine used to say it away. He said part of the reason that there are all these wars is because everybody has cars. Everybody wants the lifestyle, and everybody wants to drive them. And they're all based in that Rockefeller oil from Standard Oil, when they basically created an industry that in order for you to have a decent life, it means you got to have the oil. So there's no reason for them to get rid of oil. Oil is not going away. They got that Invention Secrecy Act of 1951. There's no way that anyone can make any other sustainable form of energy propulsion because it'll topple energy markets. And so they banned anything but fossil fuels. So it was a dip for Exxon Mobil, and it'll come right back up. You know, this is the world that we live in. And once again, like this is how my mind works. You know, if it's profitable, that's what they're going to do. Oil still works. As long as you got people in the biggest military arm of the cartel still fighting with each other over politics, there's no reason to give them anything they want. That's why they made white people. That's why they made black people. That's why they made the Democrats and the Republicans. They're just the Crips and the Bloods. And as long as they're fighting, you can control the city. But when the Crips and the Bloods stop fighting, then you got to do what the people in the Crips and the Bloods want. But as long as they're fighting, you don't have to do anything that they want you to do. And that's just how the world works. I think at the world level, and that's how it works at street level. So no, we're not getting off of fossil fuels. It doesn't matter if they're causing climate change. The Democrats aren't fighting climate change. They're behind most of the climate change with the Republicans and everybody else. The climate's always changed. You're never going to stop them. And I do kind of believe that we make it worse. You know, I don't believe any of the numbers or scientists. Once again, I'm not qualified to make those scientific statements. Just sitting back and watching, and the reading that I've done on geoengineering.org and what they've been doing to modify climates, and the statements made by JFK and LBJ that in the future, we're going to modify climates if we keep playing with these top secret weather modification satellites that alter cloud cover. I agree with that. And that makes sense to me. It was predicted that the climate's going to change. Now the climate's changing. So yeah, we're not getting off of fossil fuels. That's what enslaves us. Plantations don't get rid of the iron shackles till they have a better shackle. And so the only scenario I see that happening, if you're really out there fighting fossil fuels and help stop climate change, slow it down. And that's if the dollar collapses, not if, when. And they come up with that new digital dollar. And people say, hell no, go to hell. We know that's another scam. We'll move over to Bitcoin or Tripcoin or Ether or whatever somebody y'all want to go to. And the yuan becomes the world's reserve currency, the digital yuan. I don't know what it's called. If that becomes the world's currency, then there might be a shift from fossil fuels to something else. But whatever you're going to shift to, it's going to be done to control everybody, because who's behind the digital yuan is going to be the central banking Rothschilds as well. And so they're just going to give us a shackles that are maybe painted. They might be softer, had that little what is that, felt on the inside, so we don't chafe and get acne around our wrist. How they giving the kids on their mouths with the Masny. that's the only thing I can see happening, But then we got to learn Mandarin, because that's how it works. The Rothschilds don't give me two damns about America. They just don't want it destroyed with a nuclear weapon. They just want their slave plantation to keep working, paying taxes, and the left fighting the right fighting the left, the white people fighting the black people fighting the white people, somebody fighting with the immigrants, and somebody got fighting with the Bundys. As long as it's a fight club, the Bloods and the Crips keep fighting, the MS-13 got somebody to fight. As long as everybody's fighting, the Rothschilds are happy. They just keep growing the police state, and they don't have to do what anybody's fighting. They don't have to do anything, solve any of the problems. That's why everybody's fighting. And that's why politicians don't talk about root problems. All right, let me do comments. I'm off running my mouth. So that's what I was looking at this morning. I thought it was interesting. I thought Ron Paul had a good one. Kim Iverson had a good one. Ron was hitting on the impeachment, which to me is, once again, is bullshit. So corporations don't need to impeach anybody. They just fire them. But people don't understand that. And then he started talking about the Masny and the flora, that wearing the mask, it changes the bacteria, changes the flora content in your mouth, and it changes the bacteria content of your lungs. And to me, none of that sounds healthy. And I don't think, I know people first, they're going to say, yeah, no, it makes you more sterile. You get Purell and you're breathing fresher air. I don't think that's what the study means. It means if you have lung disease, if you got problems, you got concerns with the bacteria that your lungs are trying to release, then you need to really think about these idiots trying to tell you that you need to 4, 5, 7, 6, 10 masks. They're trying to create a problem to not solve a problem. Or they're just stupid. I have no idea which. You can pick. I think there were a few other interesting things I saw this morning. Anyway, we definitely need more speech platforms. This stuff is getting tiring. It is, Jackie. I'm working on my own. Everybody should work on their own. Everybody should have a website. That's the word we're going to, people. That's blockchain. Everybody should have a place where they have free speech. And it's easy to make a website. That's where the internet was going until big tech took over. So we need to go back in that direction. You need a platform, Jackie McMillan, where you can tell everybody where to go, when to go there, how long they need to stay. and that'll be Jackie's world. And we'll all come out and hang in Jackie's world for a little bit. I'm working on a few other solutions as well. Like once I get the whole flying icons figured out, I'm trying to figure out a way so that we all stay connected for multiple websites, right? And we used to have something called links, right? You come out to our website and these were our links. So we need a way to kind of wake up in the morning and get that same feeling of family as we do on social media, where we just kind of flip around on everybody's website, see what everybody's thinking and talking about. So it might mean I have to make some standards for some things, but I'm coming into a time in a world where I'm going to have more time for writing software. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to do everything I can to, for free, as free as I can make it anyway, empower everyone to have their own voice. We all need free speech, because it can't just be live streamers. It can't just be people who are stupid like me who actually defy the United States Incorporated, because they just kill us. Everybody has to have their own voice. You need to be able to have a place where you can speak on anything that you need to. All right, the problem makers are benefiting massively from this platform. Wow, just now. Yes, exactly. And that's why, Jackie, it is a good thing that they finally paddled me in my butt, so it'll get me off my butt and I'll go back to working on my site. And it stinks as far as sites go. I'm not a web designer. I'm a software engineer. But I kind of like it. I'm trying to put more of my memes out there. I'm posting less on Facebook all the time. I've never really started posting on Twitter. And I'm not saying I'm going to get rid of my accounts. I'll post in those things, but it'll be more strategic. I need to post more on other people's websites than my own than I should on Mark Zuckerberg's or any of the billionaires. Duct tape is your solution, and on those cords. Well, no, not on mine. You mean my power cords? No, I didn't use duct tape over here. I used solder. I did it right, but there's something else that's going on. So I fixed, instead of buying a new power pack, I fixed the wire and it's still jacked up. And so to me, it's the connection. So probably next I need to replace the connection in the laptop. And if you're new and you're wondering, well, why don't you just buy a new laptop? Why don't you just buy a new power cord? Because all this comes from slavery. All this comes from, like, the reason I've got this bikini bottom, bikini atoll, which I'm not even sure that's the name, that's SpongeBob. But that's where they say SpongeBob came from. It came from the nuclear test where they went and blew up this nuclear atom bomb thingy, whatever it's called. And they thought the wind was blowing one way, but it blew the other way, and it got a whole bunch of people sick, and they had to evacuate the atoll islands. The reason that's there is because we started becoming bastards that buy crap that they steal from other countries, which is why they got the military weapons they do, as opposed to fixing them. I'm a big believer in fixing things. You know, everybody can talk about world peace, but until you act on it, it's just talk. It's just babble. You got to become empowered again. Once again, when we decentralize, we go back into being blockchain humans, it means that we need very few people to survive. Communities don't need tons of people. Communities don't need a China and slavery in China to make our cheap crap. So anyway, I was just repairing it. But no, it's not duct tape. I actually soldered it. And it's a shoddy solder job. I'm looking at it from right here. But it means that the connector is the problem, not the wire. Or the connector on the inside, not the outside. The female, not the male. Good morning, Rebecca Costello. How the monkeys and wolves and velociraptors and all your pets doing down there in Florida? They will always find a fake problem like impeachment, not to solve real problems. Exactly, Christine. That's what I'm saying. It's all talk. It's all talk. It's either just to kind of keep everybody focused on the circus, the bread and circus, or it's just because they really, really love Donald Trump and they don't want him to go anywhere. They need him to win in 4 years. The DNC loves this man because the more they attack him, the more people will vote for him next time around. Right? And I don't think they count the votes, but they look at who's popular and they'll put that person in the employee slot. And as long as he's the demon, he's so turning against him makes him a demigod, makes him stronger, so more people will vote for him. And as long as he goes back into office, it means the Democrats don't have to change anything. They don't have to talk about root problems. They can keep talking about side effects. They love him at the top. The Democrats hate him because they're told to hate him. The DNC loves him because he is the perfect foe, and a controllable one, I think, in my opinion. Anyway, they will always find a fake problem. So that's why I think it's all fake, Christine. Dude, yep, this is just the doo-doo bird. That's all. They're just finding something to doo-doo on. Democrats and Republicans. Nah, Democrats. DNC and GOP. And I think it works that way in most countries. Hey, Susie Rosenberg, how you doing this morning? Good morning. Everybody say good morning. The grassy no. Look over there while we do this evil crap over here. Yep, that's what it is. Look over there. Just look over there. Just do anything. Just look over there. And so for me, when people say how they say, oh, we don't talk about it. That's what they want you to talk about. I'm like, no, but you need to tell people, look at what you're seeing over there. Is anything over there important? Oh, it's important. They're getting rid of Donald Trump so he can't run again. But they're not actually doing that. He's not the president. And there's a lot of questions whether or not you can impeach somebody who's not even, you can impeach the president, but he's not actually the president. He's a private citizen. That's one. And two, what is it actually doing? It is creating more hatred on the other side because people hate the DNC. And so people on the bench are getting off the bench to go support him because if they think that they hate him, then there must be something good about him. And it means that they don't have to change anything. They can keep being as horrible as they can be. Good example is from Jimmy Dore. let me jump over there real quick. How horrible it is. I love his show because he goes through like some of the tweets. I wish I had the time to look through Twitter and find like really deep, wise tweets and things and go through it. I don't. But he pulled up a whole bunch of them. I think his last show was called Lying for Biden, $2,000 checks. And I think he was doing Jimmy a Bernie guy, I think. He's even finally said that Bernie's a fraud. Bernie's just doing everything that Biden and the rest of them tell him to do. Hang on, let me back that up a little bit. And bring you in. $2,000 check lie.
This is Newsweek.
Oh,
This is
smash on.
considered news. This is PR coming right from Joe Biden's PR. Why not just say we're not Newsweek anymore? We're doing PR for politicians. I bet you make more money. Just charge Joe Biden for this, because that's what his PR people would do. Joe Biden critics falsely claim president lied about $2,000 stimulus checks. That's Newsweek says that. And I don't know if you know, 400, if you can see at the bottom, 420 people like that, which makes sense because you got to be high to take this shit seriously.
High, very.
So here we go. So Newsweek says the people who say Joe Biden said $2,000, they're lying. Joe Biden critics falsely claim he lied about they falsely claim that he lied. No, Joe Biden lied. And you want to see him lie? Here it is.
If you send John and the Reverend to Washington, those $2,000 checks will go out the door.
We will be able to pass $2,000 stimulus checks for the people next week.
We'll deliver the $2,000 stimulus checks, and that begins with the $2,000 stimulus.
When you send me and Reverend Warnock to the Senate, we will pass those $2,000 stimulus checks. You send me and Reverend Warnock to the Senate, we will pass those $2,000 stimulus checks.
They will make decisions about whether we give people a $2,000 check.
We need to pass $2,000 stimulus checks for the people.
We're getting people the $2,000 in relief, direct payment.
Congress should pass $2,000 checks. President-elect Biden and Democrats are all pushing for $2,000 relief checks.
$2,000 stimulus checks.
$2,000 relief checks. $2,000 relief checks. They should send $2,000 checks to the American people right now.
Supporting $2,000 relief payments right now.
We need to be passing the $2,000 stimulus relief check.
Hey, let me pause for a second. So what I love about this is the fact that one is making it obvious. Y'all live in a time where y'all don't know that y'all are on video, which I think is hilarious. And two, the only reason that you're even talking about $2,000 is because you were going to give people $1,400, and Donald Trump said, no, we need to give them $2,000. That's number one. And then the controlled opposition side of it is $2,000 isn't livable. Not in this McMansion monster of a slave plantation. $2,000 isn't even livable. And so now everyone's fighting over this $2,000 thing, which I think is hilarious.
That means we need
But
John
they
Ossoff
lie.
and Raphael Warnock, who will go to D.C. to ensure the $2,000 checks.
You see ads that say, want your $2,000 stimulus check? Vote Democrat. Vote for Warnock.
Okay, I think you get the message. Did anybody hear them say $1,400 checks? Did anybody on there say $1,400 checks?
Nope.
Did one person say $1,400 checks? No.
Nope. I suck at math, but I did not hear that. And I'm bad at hearing. My hearing is just, the older I get, the less it's doing what it needs to do. I got to say, huh? What? More than I like to. But nope, I heard $2,000 very clear, Jimmy.
So this is the Democrats following that Joe Biden tradition of not realizing stuff can be documented on the internet. That's exactly what that is.
Well, because he thought it was the 1600s. He that's what happens. He jumping back and forth. That's what that dementia do to you. It'll make you think that you back then, you over here. And this is the dangerous thing that I try to caution people for. You don't want people with nuclear weapons that have no idea what time it is, let alone the century. We all gonna die. And this is why it's hilarious to me that we're not going to stand up as a united people and say, all right, we all done screwed up. We all messed up. We all a part of the problem. Now we need to fix this before we kill all us. Got kids starving. They say 1 in 7 families say they don't have enough food to feed their children.
Their reporting. Correction. This article has been updated with further context regarding Biden's comments in Atlanta. The headline was corrected to remove the word falsely. The original tweet has been deleted. So Joe Biden's critics claim the president lied about 2000. So they're not only claiming, Joe Biden's critics are pointing out accurately that the president lied about $2,000 stimulus checks, just like Donald Trump lied.
Well, technically, it's not a lie. I mean, you know, give him credit. It's just he said "F you." he said, "This is what we're going to do." He got in office. They sat him down and they told him probably exactly what he's going to do that they did to Obama. I think they did to Trump, and I do to everybody else. And he capitulated because he's a yes guy. He said, "Okay, all right, now F them," and that's what he's saying. So technically, he didn't lie. I think when he said it, he wanted to do it. He agreed with Donald Trump that y'all are worth $2,000 a month, which to me, I think is a slap in the face to begin with. But now he's just not going to do it. He's just saying you're not important because, I mean, what else is in that bill? The stimulus. They're just sending money to warlords. They're sending money all over the planet, giving everybody everything they need to destroy their countries, to put in puppet governments, to steal their resources, destabilizing everything. And they're starving Americans to destabilize them. It's how for-profit corporations make money. They make money through destabilization and starvation. Artificial scarcity and Mad Maxology. They need to make America a for-profit slave plantation, which it already is, but with a total medical police state and digital police state and Twinkie police state and Hershey police state and anybody else that they've given money that's giving money to them. That's exactly what's happening. But you're only going to get that is if you put people against each other. Starving people don't ask any questions. They do exactly what they're told.
The first thing he did as president was lie about the 2000. He was lying about that before he became president because he was telling everybody, vote for those guys and I'll get you your $2,000. He was lying. That's what's called a lie. Newsweek says the people who are accurately reporting that are liars. Do you understand why we have a show? Do you understand why the news media is at the lowest point for its confidence by the American people ever? Do you understand? Because it's owned by billionaires who just did what Robinhood did to their... That's what they're doing. They're lying to their own readers to prop up a politician. That's literally what they're doing. You can clearly hear in this video they actually said $1,400. No, that's very funny. But watch this. Watch this, Graham. Here's the Democrats. Watch this. The Democrats tweeted this out. It says the president of the United States will build on the $600 down payment provided by Congress last year, sending an additional $1,400 to households across America, totaling direct payments to $2,000 per person.
They pulled the math on you. They did
I like the before and after of when we get power going on here. This is amazing. So before we got power, we were saying $2,000. After we got power, it's 14.
But 1,400 plus 600 is 2,000.
Imagine if the Democrats. And by the way, look at the ratio. I don't know if you can see this, but the ratio is they have 2,293 likes, 5,937 comments. That's called getting ratioed. Imagine if the Democratic Party had a Yelp page. What would that Yelp page look like? If Democrats were a car dealership, they'd have gone out of business from too many Better Business Bureau complaints. Dems employed a super clear, unequivocal, visually compelling strategy to convince voters that they'd have both the will and the power to deliver $2,000 checks immediately if the voters delivered them wins.
And what they
the
do?
voters did their part,
Yes,
and
did.
now suddenly it's super complicated.
Well, it's complicated.
Super complicated,
I mean,
you
it's like people's status in their dating and relationships. It's not that simple. No, it was simple. When we got together, you said you was going to take me out to dinner every Wednesday and Thursday. You said you was a nice guy. You never cuss at me in front of the children anywhere else. You said you cut the grass. You said you leave the toilet seat up and they would put the toilet seat down. Now you don't do none of that. It's complicated. I'm not sure if we're together. That's what they get them social media pages. They say, well, you with him or not? Are you in a relationship or not? You're married? Oh, it's complicated. It's not that simple. I know I told you I was going to do all these things for you, but see what I said wasn't really dinner every night. It was not on Wednesdays, it'd be a couple times a month, maybe a couple times a year. I started making them excuses. What we really meant is we see when you add $600 to $1,400, that equals 2,000, and that's what we meant. That's what. And I think it's crazy because people die if they don't have $4,000 a month.
The Democratic Party deserves to go extinct. Here's Forbes. Biden's final pitch to Georgia: vote blue, and $2,000 checks will go out the door immediately. That was his final pitch to Georgia.
He said that? I'd be pissed off.
Justin Jackson retweets this and says, it's really wild how politicians just lie for a living.
It's their job. Who said
is.
that? Hold on. It's their job. Where's this? Mashup? Who said that? Oh, Justin Jackson. It's their job. They're not politicians. They're actors. They are acting for-profit corporations. It is their job, just how it is Morgan Freeman's job to be God. Is Denzel's Washington job to be some young dude running around with a gun shooting people? Is Kevin Costner's job to be out on a prairie in the 1500s talking to a wolf? They have this reality that they give people, and people believe the reality. They're not lying. They're actors. Corporations don't have politicians. They have employees. They do what they're told to do, and they were told to do this.
Just lied, just like Donald Trump, but somehow it's worse when Donald Trump did it. I worked my ass off. This is El Chicano. He says, I worked my ass off and knocked on well over 1,000 doors, promising people $2,000 checks. Where are they? You promised them. I hate lying to people. Not $1,400, $2,000. And he tags Ossoff, Reverend Warnock, the DNC, and Joe Biden. This is from Public Citizen. 1 in 7 adults say their families are going hungry right now. This is not about a stimulus. This is about human beings trying to survive.
They don't give a damn. Never have.
Non-voting felon says Biden's first week, $1,400 plus $600 equals a $2,000 check lie. Approving 31 oil drilling permits.
Hello.
Drone strikes in Somalia.
Racism.
Freeze on lowering insulin prices.
Yeah, don't give a damn.
Kids are still in cages.
Never cared.
Monitoring Wall Street losses more than mass evictions.
Because
and sending kids back to school with COVID. Liberals, heart you.
Gotta get them indoctrinated.
That got 4,500 likes. And you know what else is sad? The number of drilling permits is likely to go up while the dollar amount may still go down. That's a failed state.
Ain't leaving all.
Bernie Sanders. Now, Bernie Sanders, you think would be pushing for $2,000 and calling out the Democratic Party for letting its people down and for blatantly lying to them and putting the pressure on Joe Biden to move left and honor their promises that they made to voters. You think Bernie Sanders would be doing that? He would be pushing Joe Biden to not left, just to honor the shit that Joe Biden already promised voters. That's what Bernie Sanders, you think that's what he would be doing, right?
You think, not me. I don't think that.
You'd be wrong.
I wasn't wrong.
We've got to get checks of $1,400 on top of the $600 that we already allocated out to every working class family in this country and to their kids as well. People are struggling to put food on the
$1,400.
So there you go. I don't know if you heard
We've
it.
got to get checks of $1,400 on top.
Put them draws down, just give it to you raw.
So Bernie doesn't have to do that. Joe Biden is not his boss.
Nope.
Bernie is elected by the people of his state. Joe Biden is not his boss. He does not have to go out there and do that. He's doing it anyway. What do you make of that, Graham?
Well, it's just astonishing to me. I don't get why Bernie's doing that. There's no excuses. Like I get what happened at the Capitol.
Actually, hang on. Before he says that, I want to retract that statement. Is Joe Biden Bernie's boss? And what I know what they're about to say, because I heard part of it earlier today, which is they're going to say, well, Bernie's an independent. Joe Biden is in the Democrats. And so Joe Biden is not Bernie's boss. And that would be true if they were political parties. If they were just acting guild departments from within the United States Incorporated, then it means that Joe Biden most likely is Bernie's boss. And he's the Republicans' boss, or not Bernie, Sniffy Joe. Is that all of their bosses? Because most likely in the org chart, which nobody's ever seen the org chart for the United States Incorporated that I know of, we just know that there are a lot of acting guilds within. So it is my belief that the president probably is the boss of the rest of the actors, but then the president has a boss. When you start to get to the real powerful levels of the United States Incorporated, they're all being controlled. They're all employees. So it makes sense if that is his boss. It makes perfectly good sense. If it's not his boss, then it doesn't make sense. Either Bernie has no integrity or we just have no clue that this is a corporation and we don't know how corporations work.
Justified in the argument of somebody like Bernie Sanders, well, I had to back Joe Biden because look at how awful Trump was. He supported the Nazis and whatever. Okay, all right, fine. You can agree or disagree, but I see that thinking at least. Trump's gone. There's no more excuses. The Democrats have control of everything. How hard is this? You promised us $2,000 checks.
Gods are not, they never leave nor forsake. Okay, the demigods are not gone. They still need Trump be Trump God. The DNC loves Trump. They're going to keep him as a demon because the only way to get people want to get saved, get Jesus, is you got to have a demon. Everybody knows that. You got to have something for people to run and hide from. So no, gods do not leave nor forsake. I like this guy. What's his name? I forgot his name, but I like him. He is great. He shows up with Lee Camp sometimes. He is a great guy, but I'm going to have to disagree and say, no, the gods never leave nor forsake. He's still there. And it makes perfectly good sense if you realize the DNC wants Donald Trump to be the president in 4 years. It makes perfectly good sense that they are building up his base by encouraging the people that know that they're scammers and frauds with the Republicans that they hate him. And that's the whole purpose for the impeachment.
We haven't gotten them. And now you're giving us, well,
personal
600 and 1,400. Just sound like that guy in Popeye. It's like, oh, I'll pay you for a hamburger on Thursday for a burger I eat today. It just sounds like it's ridiculous. And they keep, and again, the Democrats aren't dumb. They know that the Vote Any Blue Will Do crowd is dumb enough to get mad at us rather than the Democratic Party. They know that. They go, we got these blue MAGA morons who will get mad at people like Jimmy and Graham and anybody else because they can get away and do whatever they want. Because it's just like, and if the Democratic Party did have a Yelp page, well, Janet Yellen get, speaking money by Google, so she'd have Google pull down all the 1-star reviews. So they're covered on that end too. So it's like and then again, that tweet was all pointed out. I would add to the things that Biden has also. So we don't have money. We can't give everybody $2,000, but we got money to roll convoys back into Syria. We got money for that to protect oil fields. Oh, by the way, we just deported 300 some people. Something, again, a campaign promise. Biden said no more deportations. So where there's no excuses anymore. You can't blame the big bad Republicans and Trump and this and that.
Racism.
What is it? Where's our money? I've got
Racism.
$600. That's it.
It's racism. Oh, look at that.
Pennsylvania homeowners.
Look at that.
You can now
That's
join the Pennsylvania no-cost
That's a real
down
problem
solar
with real
program for a
solutions.
limited.
Not anti-gravity, but it's free energy.
Well,
they have nothing.
Here's what Socialist MMA says. Is Bernie Sanders, AOC, and the squad really going to stay silent about Biden's $2,000 check lie?
Of course.
Do they not care? Their
No.
role is really to be PR for Democrats now. Really sucks we're on our own on this.
You've always been on your own.
I
not
got
just on this.
3,300 likes. I mean, I asked Dylan Ratigan when he was on the show, what is in it for Joe Biden and the Democrats to not give people the $2,000? He didn't know. Literally,
Reemployment.
that's a guy who knows everything there is to know about money and Wall Street and how shit works. Wrote New York Times bestsellers about it. Award-winning Bloomberg reporter. He is lost for words. Doesn't know. Graham, can you think of what the fuck could possibly be in it for Bernie Sanders to not push for $2,000? What is in it for Joe Biden to not give people the extra $600? What the fuck could possibly be in it for them?
Oh, Jimmy, can I answer the question? I want to answer the question. I was downloading. I think one of the sisters just said it right. This is what's in it. Let me see if I can find a picture of what's in it for him. Nancy Pelosi. That's what's in it. Nancy, welcome to the stage, everybody. Nancy Pelosi. What's in it for him? Doo-doo. What's in the Hunger Games? That's what's in it for him is the Hunger Games, right? Because how do you control people is you starve them. Artificial scarcity. That's all it is. That's the only reason why they're not giving you what you need to live is because when you are starving, you would do exactly what they need you to do for biscuits. And they just want you going for biscuits. And that's the beautiful thing about being alive today. If you have any integrity, you see it and you speak on it. And you're not playing this game with them anymore. The privileged people are going to keep playing the game. That's why it's 18 people here, not 800 people here, because the privileged people will keep playing this game. They know that they're in the Hunger Games, they're going to do well. There's a whole bunch of them. I grew up around them. I grew up in Maryland, around all the largest community of middle-class, wealthy, Black privileged people. And they don't give two damns. They could not care less. They'd be on that Black pride all day and artificial and white guilt and all that, white supremacy and all that stuff all day long. But they don't really care. They're fine. They got a savings. They got that 401k. They're going to be absolutely fine. They could care less. They're going to do well in the Hunger Games. Like the upper middle class whites. They can, Black Lives Matter. Y'all can protest out there. You don't give two damns. They're going to keep the lockdowns. They're going to starve the population because those people are living on their savings. It's not the 1 in 7. It's the rest of them. And they don't give two damns. They have no empathy. So this, you said, I'm sorry, Angela, you said Pelosi. I wanted to get a picture of her on the screen real quick. So, because this is the Hunger Games. And we've been saying this for damn near, 2 years now? Probably longer than that. Some people, the financial analysts who said this was coming, they need you to take the new scam. And you're only going to take the new digital Ponzi scheme, pyramid, digital social credit scoring scam is if you are on your knees. That's the only way to get some fire and arrows and go out there fighting, shooting people from trains and cars and running in the forest and fighting each other for the wealthy. And they can just sit back and watch. That's all they want to do. They just want to see y'all run and play. They want to see you fight on social media about Trump and that and Biden and go back and forth. They just want to see people fighting. And so they can swoop in with the martial law, and then they really get their way. That's what this is all about. Controlled opposition on all sides.
I'm bewildered as much as you and Dylan Ratigan.
Don't be bewildered, Graham. Just tell them.
You come in and go, here's the $2,000 that we promise. You can ride on the yay, we beat Trump, the ding dong, the witch is dead. We're the heroes coming in, and now you're going, well, I don't. Just cut the checks. I mean, there's so many things. Again, Biden could have been this hero. We could have gotten Medicare for all by saying.
Before he goes with that, and they print the money. Let's not lose sight of this fact. They print the money. They literally print the money. So you take that $1,400 and you add $600 to it. They print the money. You're not talking about gold. Nobody's losing anything. They literally print the money. It is no sweat off their brow, and it is no problem for them to give you the extra $600. They just don't want to. These people hate you. They actually probably had to make a change on the printing press. No, it's 2,000. We need to spend some money, make some change, get it back down to 14. Why? Because it's not going to cost us nothing, but that's what we want to do. We need to starve them. We need them to capitulate. Slaves. Why after slavery did a lot of slaves not want to leave their masters? They didn't want to leave the plantation because they couldn't take care of themselves, right? Because the master convinced them that you need us. You will die without us. And so a lot of slaves stayed on the plantation after Emancipation Proclamation. And that's what this is about. If you can break a people, get them down to their knees to bending a knee, they'll do anything that you want them to do. That's what it's always been about.
Because COVID is a national emergency. So he could have given us Medicare for all for that. He could have done student debt forgiveness and given us $2,000. These are.
I'm going to call bullshit on that play, Brother Graham, only because once again, you're treating side effects. If they know cardiovascular disease, sugar and junk food and glyphosate is what's behind the debilitating white blood cells and giving people reduced immunity, then they should stop subsidizing that. That's what they should do. That's why I say, and this is my point, is that No politician talks about the root problems, because if they talk about the root problems, you'll know what the root solutions are. And they don't want root solutions because all the problems are profitable.
For all things that can be done by executive action, and he won't do them. So I don't know. Do they want like food riots? Do they?
Yes.
I don't know. I really I'm grasping at straws here.
should be
Like,
obvious.
are they trying to get Americans so hungry and pissed off that they can enforce martial law? I mean, I don't know. I don't either. I can't see.
It's so I forget the famous quote and who it's from, but I will butcher it. Is that a revolution is just 3 skipped meals away anywhere. A revolution is 3 meals away. That's it. So here's what they're hoping people say. So this woman says, or this person, I don't know who this is, says it was always from the beginning, this package was a supplement to go with the $600 sent out. 1,400 plus 600 equals 2,000. Mrs. Harris and Mrs. Pelosi are who pushed for the additional money. In my book, they are heroes. That's wild. That person's not. That person's probably in therapy.
No, her name. You didn't read her name.
Beth responds saying, "Why are you doing this? Are you
go back? Her name. Left Hand Lucy. Left Hand Lucy said it.
Beth responds saying, "Why are you doing this? Are you paid to do it? Or have you been so browbeaten by propaganda you actually believe this? Dreadful that you would defend this. Absolutely dreadful." Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Only the Democrats are dumb enough to figure out a way to pass a stimulus check that makes everyone hate you even more. It is amazing. It is amazing.
Well, that's the thing. That tweet from that one person, the Democrats know they're going to get a certain percentage of people going, "What heroes? That person who tweeted that, I'd like to go, have you gotten this extra $1,400? No, but I will. Okay, well, if you haven't gotten it yet, they haven't done it. It hasn't happened. It's just like everyone, the squad. I'm just starting to call them the tweet squad, because all they can do is tweet.
That's
none
it.
of their tweets passed a law. Ro Khanna, none of them. Why do you? And Bernie Sanders is technically an independent. He's not even in the Democratic Party after. Like, what is he doing?
Why is he carrying water for Joe Biden? He doesn't have to do that. Joe Biden is not his boss. He's pretending like Joe Biden is his boss. He pretends like he's working for the Joe Biden campaign. He's not. You're an independently elected senator from Vermont, and you can do whatever you want. It's amazing. He won't do it. They won't.
I have to say, let me do this. So we'll go off of that. No, the show is not about politics. What we are talking about are the problems in the world, the biggest problems in the world. I would say this is more of us talking about children starving and why they aren't getting food. And it's because people are still playing politics. That's what I would say. So no, I would say, no, the show is not about politics. I wake up in the morning, Sister Lori, and I look at what's going on, and I'm just thinking of who is hurting children the most right now. And I think it should be obvious. It should be obvious. But let's do this. Let's skip over, because I want, and so once again, and so another problem would be the and I'll post a link, y'all can watch the whole thing, would be this nuclear thing, right? This whole Iran nuclear thing. And it's yeah, you could call it politics. I don't think it's politics. I think it's the same damn thing, just given to us in different packages. But where was it? Tim was talking about Iran. Because these are the new things. Anything that's distracting from
some people say our
why children don't have food, I would say it's important because we got to call bullshizzle on it. And I call bullshizzle. And because it's the Democrats this time, I'm fine with it. I don't have an issue with it. When it was the Republicans, I'm fine with it. I don't have an issue with it. But as long as these people are hurting people and they're giving people maskne and acne, and they're subsidizing what's behind maskne and acne, and I don't think these people should have nuclear weapons. Not that Iran. I think that everybody who already has them should have them. And so she was talking about the nuclear. So we'll shift over though.
Secretary of State Anthony Blinken claims that Iran is only weeks away from a nuke. Check this out.
Do we have time for the negotiations? You said that they'll take time, but if they're that close to building a bomb?
And it's a problem that
could get more acute, because if Iran continues to lift some of these restraints imposed by the agreement, that could get down to a matter of weeks. The bottom line is they are getting closer to the point where they would be either a threshold nuclear power or actually a nuclear power.
Okay, so we've been hearing this, I feel like, for the last 3 decades straight.
That was all bullshit. So it doesn't never matter who's in the president, the office, the administration, the Senate, or the Congress. They're all corporate departments from a corporation. But I'm going to hit this real quick. Self-employed people, are they their own bosses? I have to answer that and say no. I've owned a business ever since I was probably, 18 or 19? I've always owned a business, and I've never been my own boss. I've always been on a slave plantation. A good example of that is right now. You know, how are they abusing everybody with face diapers and face nappies? Through businesses, self-employed people, right? Because the state dictates to them what they must do to have a license or to operate, and the state can control them. So you always have a boss. The earth is a slave plantation until we get a flat earth and no one can dictate what you must do to have the right to live here. You'll always have a boss. And so as long as anyone born on this planet has a mandate to pay back debts to Rothschilds and Rockefellers, kids who never even touched that debt, literally just popped out the womb with the juice and all that stuff, looking purple and stuff, still got the umbilical to mama. You are a slave to the Rothschilds and Rockefeller through central banking. So as long as money is in between human beings and survival, we are all slaves. You know, we all got line bosses.
Iran is only weeks away from a nuke. They've been saying this over and over and over again. In those weeks, it kind of feels, they've been dragging on for a really long time. I want to show you some of these articles to see where is he getting this idea. Here is IDF Chief Kochavi. He is saying that, sorry, that's not the right one. Here's the right one. Here's Steinitz right here. Says Iran is a year or, hold on here. Where did this thing go? I actually just had this, well, we'll just start with this one anyway, I suppose. IDF Chief Kochavi says a return to the Iran deal is a strategic mistake. Sorry, this was the right one that I meant to show you from the beginning. I should have trusted my gut instinct from the beginning. Says Iran jumps in, enriching uranium could eventually bring it to be only weeks away from a nuclear bomb. So this guy is saying that a return to the 2015 nuclear deal with Iran or a slightly improved one would be operational and strategic mistake for the world, IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Aviv Kochavi said on Tuesday. If Iran's progress in developing advanced centrifuges and enriching uranium are not stopped, it could eventually be only weeks away from a nuclear bomb, he said at the Institute for National Security Studies annual conference. So that's where, Anthony Blinken and him are agreeing, and they're saying, oh my gosh, well, if Iran isn't stopped, they're only weeks away from being able to create a nuke. They're going to get all of these materials that they need, and it's just a matter of time. We must stop them. So he's saying we can't go into a deal. Now, as we know, the Biden administration has been saying that they want to get back into the nuclear deal. And I think the big question about all of this that we're seeing right now with Anthony Blinken and with this, with this IDF chief saying that they're weeks away, the big questions are, is the United States going to be getting into a deal with Iran? Are we going to be going back into the Iran nuclear deal? Or are we going to war with Iran? Or is it something sort of like where we're at right now, where it's just we sanction them and we just continue this status quo where we claim we want to do a deal, but we're not going into a deal, and we're also not going into war, and so we're just sanctioning them and trying to economically crumble them, something similar to perhaps what we've been doing to, let's say, Cuba for decades. Okay.
Sounds racist once again. That's all I'm hearing. I'm hearing racism. I just think we need to qualify it. Call it statism, racism, ethnicism. You live around oilism. We need to rob you ism. It's all the same damn thing, no matter who's in office. It's all bullshit with people. They don't focus on the bare necessities. I kind of want to hear it, and I kind of don't. I've heard part of it this morning. She just went through it and kind of explained it that, they're feeding into the same narrative, right? If Iran gets nukes, they want to hurt you. They want to hurt you. And the people who were saying that are the people behind all the genocides and the ones who are hurting you, literally stopping you from being able to provide for your families. There actually was another one to share. We can finish playing the rest of that one. I get, I'm hitting my cue. It's important to talk about everything that's a problem in the world, and them avoiding the real problems is a problem. I'm kind of hitting my cue. I wanted to go and play this piece from a sheriff real quick. I appreciate this conversation. I think sheriffs are very important.
The sheriff
They're the only elected politician that you actually have. And at the end of the day, children need somebody in the community that will protect the rights that we perceive that we have, at least. And so there are sheriffs across here in the United States anyway, that are actually standing up and are defying the banana republic, which is a corporation. And they've been doing that for a while. You know, it's all right. Let me let them talk for a minute.
Chaos many months ago. Probably like me, you may have been searching for information in terms of law and legalities and where we can get help. And Sheriff Mack, I have to say, your name just kept popping up in terms of giving people information. I heard some interviews with you early on, and I went back and I found other interviews with you long before any of this, virus. I'm not supposed to say that word because Facebook will flag me. Long before I call it hogwash. And the reason I call it hogwash is because everything has been overblown. I have many healthy Americans who have told me that they have had this virus and that they've recovered, or they know people. That's not my issue at all. Right. I wish everyone well. I've been in health and fitness all my life. So no issue with that. Yeah, there you go.
In fact, I had it really bad. But
well, tell me about that.
It doesn't change my view on it one iota. If I had died from it, I'm telling you, give me liberty or give me COVID-19. I want everybody to be free and make their own health choices. Government is not our nanny. They're not our doctor. And I still ask everybody, from my kids at school to everybody in this country, old, young, middle, I don't care. Who do you trust in this government to take care of your health for you and your family?
That's right. Yeah.
Question.
It's only yourself. I mean, I've been on record to say,
before you say that, sis, would y'all do that? I agree with the sheriff. Give me my freedom, or give me cuckoo 19. I take the cuckoo. I take the cuckoo all day, every day. And in fact, it was a decision that I made. You know, I haven't done your little silly lockdown thingy. I haven't done that one damn day. I've been out every day. I hug everybody, needs hugged, shake hand, need to shake a hand. I take the cuckoo. I take the cuckoo all day, but I will not take your slavery. You can go all the way to hell. And I don't really care if people's dying. They're out there in terms of, people died in the street, Black Plague. Okay, but that's still my choice. I get to choose, if I'm scared of what's out in the street or not. You're either a slave or you're not. And I just don't do slavery well, y'all. I would take the cuckoo, the Black Plague, the swine flu, the Zika, rolled up in a bottle of COVID. I take all of it over your perceived ability to be an authority and whip me when you choose and tell me when I can and can't leave my slave shack of a plantation to or shack to go pick your cotton. Hell no. Go to hell twice.
Government's not
responsible. I agree with you. Give me the cuckoo.
Health. Your neighbors are not responsible for your health. Your doctor is not responsible for your health.
And I'm not responsible for theirs.
That's right. Each individual, and that's our individual liberty. And I couldn't agree with you more, Sheriff, that
that's hate speech and it's racism. Talking like an adult is hate speech and racism. Freedom is racist now.
Even if the numbers were reversed and it was 99.9% of the people were dying, none of that comes before your God-given rights. That's so right. Why don't we do this? Let's talk a little bit about our rights. Give me a little bit of background. I know most people know about you already, but just a little snapshot in case there's anyone here that doesn't know who you are. And then
all right, little snapshot back, and I agree with you, Jonathan. Why would you trust anybody with anything? It ain't about the cuckoo. It's about us being cuckoo. Why would you trust anybody, any damn body with anything anyway? When I had a doctor, I didn't trust that mother. I didn't trust him then. I checked her on everything she said. When it was a he, I checked him on everything he said. They told me something about my kids. I checked them on that too. I don't trust none of these monkeys. And they went to school for 11 damn years. Right? I'm not going to trust no politician, no foul chi over. The hell no. Go to hell twice. I don't trust nobody. I don't even trust John. If Jonathan tells me that M&Ms are safe and effective, I'm gonna say, Jonathan, I don't believe you. I might eat them M&Ms if I want to, but it's my choice. But I don't trust anybody. Why would you trust anybody over anything? That's the craziest thing, unless you're a slave. Now, if you're a slave, then yeah, you got to trust your master, right? Because your master will whoop you if you don't trust him.
Then we're going to dive into some particulars about getting law enforcement educated and active and on the side of the people, which is the reason they have been, or at least the sheriffs have been elected. So take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why we need these sheriffs on our side.
Well, those of you who look up maybe my Wikipedia, I can tell you that there are lots of inaccuracies there. And also I discovered years ago that even your enemies are able to make entries on your Wikipedia background. So yes, I was not born in Arizona. I was born in St. Louis, Missouri, where my dad was stationed in the FBI at the time. Then 2.5 years later, I moved home to Arizona, where my dad was actually from. And I was raised in Arizona and graduated from high school and community college there, played a lot of sports. I actually was a very good athlete and had some scholarships in some of that. But then I went to BYU and finished my college education. I tried to get in the FBI. And while I was working my way through college, I actually worked my way through college, married too, and had a couple of, by the time I graduated, I had a couple of boys and a little girl that I was raising that was my wife. But I got into law enforcement, and the only reason, Peggy, that you and I have met and that anybody knows anything about me is because in 1994, while I served as Graham County Sheriff in Southeast Arizona, I became the first sheriff in American history to launch a lawsuit against the federal government, take it all the way to the Supreme Court, and win a monumental decision on the side of state sovereignty and liberty, and to stop the overreach of the federal government. And the Clinton administration was really good at that. And so I have the dubious distinction of suing the Clintons and living to tell about it. And I can't hear you at all.
I have a big Rottweiler. She's a 10-year-old puppy dog. She sometimes likes to get a little noisy. So there you go. Well, I'm so glad that you lived to tell about your tales, and that is quite a distinction. Yeah. And you know, I want to lead with a question right off the bat, and I think that's going to bring us right into our conversation here. Why are so many sheriffs in prison right now? There are a lot of sheriffs that have served time behind bars. The former sheriff of Los Angeles County is in Texas serving time. I have a theory. The undersheriff is serving time. The county where I live, which is Orange County, California, we had a sheriff, I think it was in the 90s or maybe early 2000s. He served time in prison. What is going on here? Is it that they had, is there corruption in the sheriff's departments? Are they being hoodwinked and bamboozled by the courts? Were they set up? I really am questioning this. It's quite strange to me that a number of sheriffs are serving time or have served time.
That's not strange to me at all. Why would the sheriffs be in prison? Same reason the children are. We're all just beings born here. We're neutral. The whole system is based on everybody being a sellout. You joining the Bloods or the Crips and fighting other people to rob from them. You know, money's put between human beings and survival. Nobody owns any land, and you'll do whatever you have to in a scenario that requires you to have to do it. So the police ain't any dirtier than the doctors, and they're no dirtier than the politicians, and no cleaner than the people who work at the fast food restaurant, because this is the Rockefellers' world. It is a group conflict-based system. Join a team, go get ignorant. And whenever you're starving in this Hunger Games of an unsociety, fake uncivilization, is you will do whatever you have to feed your children. And if that's taking money from a drug dealer, if it's going along with the United States Incorporated, which is a drug dealer and an oil company, with the military, it's all dirty. It's all dirty and corrupt. And so because it's all dirty, Nobody's clean in the system, right? Because the system requires everybody to be dirty for it to stay in place. That's my theory.
Yeah, we've been shocked by that a little bit too, to be honest. In fact, we had a few of them that were on our CSPOA committee, and that's Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. And I looked at one of our videos from 2013, and I counted the sheriffs that spoke there, and there was 3 of them that actually served time after our convention. And so, yeah, I've wondered about that. When I was first elected, there was another sheriff who lost a race in a neighboring county, and he burned the records department down in his own department. I guess he was afraid of what they might find or something. I don't know if he was trying to get rid of evidence, or if he was just leaving that as, I hate everybody for voting me out of office, or what he was doing. But I guess sheriffs are just like people too, and they get their pride going, and they misuse their power. They abuse their own power. It's a very powerful position, and so
they're all people. And that is, I'll go along with that. They're all people. You know, there is no difference than a police officer and Antifa, Black Lives Matter, Ku Klux Klan, Prayer Boys, politicians, or Yemen freedom fighters. The only difference is where they're born. If they were born in all those other positions, they'd be exactly them. There is no difference. The only difference is the indoctrination we're given, the place we're born in, the resources we have. There are no good people, no bad people. There are no essentially, well, police officers are good people and criminals are bad people. Everybody's a criminal when they need to be, and everyone is a hero and a police officer when they need to be. We are all the same creatures caught in this game called Monopoly. It's a Rockefeller bull shizzle creation of a slave plantation. It's all the Hunger Games. When you're hungry, you're going to play the game exactly how they need you to, and everybody has a stomach.
sometimes I guess you just start thinking that you answer to yourself and yourself only, and you start getting crazy. Another sheriff recently lost an election out in Florida because of a big sex scandal, and I actually really like some of the things he was doing to stand up for the Constitution. But he's now being charged with that, and he lost an election over it. And so I don't know, I guess we're just normal people. Out of 3,080 sheriffs in America, you know, there's been about 2 or 3% that have had trouble, I think, of that kind, maybe more. I don't follow that part too much, but I do follow the part where the sheriffs have ultimate law enforcement authority in their counties. And that's part of the peaceful and effective solution that I've dedicated my life to. And so,
well,
you know,
tell us more about that, Sheriff Max. So you mentioned the constitutional, give us the name again, and I'll put a link.
Constitutional
below.
Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. That's CSPOA.org.
That sounds good.
Our website.
I need to go there and check.
And we're having a major
where these brothers at?
Conference, seminar, whatever you want to call it, in Texas on the 26th and 27th of this month. And it's right outside Houston in the Woodlands in Montgomery County, Texas. And so Sheriff Rand Henderson is co-sponsoring it with us, and we're getting a lot of excitement and involvement in that, and we can't wait to have that happen. But anyway, any sheriff is still invited, and a lot of activists are coming too.
Oh, great. Okay. So activists.
I would have to say I would love you to be there.
I have to do my car trip because I'm not getting on a plane. But
yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Well, I wanted to say
tell you later on what I do on planes to make it around.
Oh, I'm gonna have to hear that, Sheriff Mack. But I do want to say this. You know, I do.
Don't fly no planes, people. Don't do it. Don't get trapped. Do not fall in that trap. You will not get me on an airplane. Right now I am like B.A. Baracus from 18. We don't do airplanes no more. Hell no. Because like I said, they're going to be toxic waste dumps. You get on an airplane, going to be just people, just Perel everywhere. You're just going to be breathing in liquid, gaseous form Perel. They're scrubbing those things down, toxic waste dumps because people scared of the cuckoo. Hell no, I won't get on an airplane. I won't get on no damn train. I won't get on no bus unless I can hold the window down the whole damn time. I do not get on no airplane.
Operate with
Unless
a
you
great
want
deal
cancer.
of discernment. My whole life has been really directed by skepticism. I'm just that kind of person that doesn't take things at face
Good
value.
for you.
And when someone tells me to do something, instead of saying, okay, I say why. And when I read a headline, I don't accept the headline and I dig deeper. So I did a little digging on you as well.
Ooh.
And it's important to do that because I really appreciate your forthrightness. And so important and the reason I mentioned that about the sheriffs being behind bars and so forth is there is often a desire, an understandable instinct or desire among we the people to have a savior, to have someone who is going to sweep in and be the knight on the white horse that's going to solve everything. Right. And that's not possible. We are human. You're exactly right. We're human beings, and we are, regardless of the position, we hope that those in position of responsibility and those that are either making the laws or upholding the laws are going to have a little bit higher level of integrity and dignity and so forth. And that is our hope and desire. But the point of me saying this to all the friends listening and all the healthy Americans, there is not one individual who is going to be that knight on the white knight on the horse. I'm not sure how the expression goes. There's not, I believe I think we're both believers. And, I have one true hope in a non-human savior. The supernatural is a little bit different than here on earth. So I'm just saying that because we have such high standards and we're looking for the one thing that's going to make the difference. Right. The other thing I want to say is this. I studied your materials someone had made that available to me about the document that you have. And it is so comprehensive. It is so well written. It is the real deal, folks. If you guys are listening and you're curious about what Sheriff Mack has, I've had people ask me, should I do this class? What do you know about him? So, I'm going to be interviewing him and I will let you know. But the information you have, just reading the laws that the sheriffs are sworn to uphold and all of the penalties if they don't uphold those. And my understanding is that your goal is to help the sheriffs understand those responsibilities and laws. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, absolutely. I was really disappointed in the first 5 years that I was a cop. And at first I was just doing opposite of what you just said a while ago. If my sergeant told me to do something, I did it. I didn't ask why. I didn't question anything. But then I made a big mistake. I started reading and studying the Constitution.
It changed you.
And I compared what the Constitution said to what we actually did in government, and I saw no similarity. All we were interested in law enforcement was making arrests, writing tickets, kicking in doors, filling the prisons, stopping the drug dealers. And, we definitely did some good things. I mean, we would go to family fights and protect women and children. In fact, later on in my career, I became a detective and a youth officer and a school resource officer. And then right after that, I was a detective that specialized in child abuse. And I have some cases that I don't even like to talk about anymore. In fact, I don't talk about them. Some of them are so horrible. And so, but it really gave me a sense of accomplishment when I protected a child from that kind of abuse.
So I'm gonna hold on a second. So where he messed up is he and I did something very similar, right? When you get involved with children in terms of he was a what do you say? He was a youth he's a youth officer, so he was involved with the youth. When you get involved with children of all walks, all races, all religions, just the children who are the least advantaged, who are having the most trouble, it changes you. And that's where he messed up. See, he could be an order follower until you realize the orders are never what's in the best interest of the children, or rarely, right? The system doesn't appreciate, respect, nor love children. So just how he was an officer and he just did what he was told, it's like me being in corporate America, going along with Wall Street, going along with a black market that blows up poor countries and steals their resources. I did what I was told. And then I matured and I realized that this industry is dirty. I got to leave the big pharma industry. The other industries are probably cleaner. And I jumped around. And I finally realized that all of these industries are here for profit. And they all hurt children and they all hurt their customers. And it changes you. I appreciate his story. And it's the same story with Chris Hedges. If you think about it, when you start working with young people and you realize that young people are all moldable and they become their environments, not their race, you want to actually fix the system. And that is where that passion comes from. So I appreciate what he said. But children is what changes you, no matter who you are, how big and bold you are. Unless some things are disconnected in your brain and you want to hurt children or sniff them, then you will change your life for them, because that's the only reason why we're here. We're here to make a world better for them. And this system is designed on making them all slaves at birth. I love his story. I'm sorry. Let's do it a few more minutes, then we'll do comments and we'll see where that goes.
And it didn't matter what kind of abuse, sexual or physical or both. And so.
I'm gonna say one more thing on that. There still seems to be this weird thing that y'all are fighting over, this whole Q stuff, right? One of the base statements or things that I got from Q, I've never read a drop. I've never actually seen a post. I don't know a whole lot about it. So if I misspeak it, then I misspeak it. But from my friends who follow Q was the whole hashtag save the children. Right. So we all get involved with I call it fancy. We all get involved with fake things because we're trying to do something real. And people are still, they can't figure out, well, why would you follow Q? Well, maybe they're just a parent. Maybe they have a child. Maybe they work with kids. Maybe they've seen the harm being done to them and they just took in the degree of bullshizzle with this idea that somebody is out there saving children. It's just hope. It's hope. Being a Q person is no different than being a Democrat. It's no different than being a Republican. It's no different than being a white person, no different than being a black person. It's no different than being in the Ku Klux Klan, the Black Panthers, the Bloods of the Crypt. It's all the same thing. Everybody's looking for hope, people. And it's just like how Saj Guru said it. So why do people go to church? They go to church for the same reason they go to the bar. Same reason they go to the temple. Same reason they go to politics. Same reason they go to war. Everybody wants hope, and all the hope is false. All of it within the system. The system has to fall, right? And so this is what I'm saying, that I can't get into the whole debate thing and you're this and you're that or whatever. Guys, it's all controlled opposition. There is no hope but going to looking at problems at the root cause and deploying root solutions. You know, we don't really have to do anything. It's just that's where I'm resonating. I resonate in a space more and more, the more I can, to not be on anybody's team for anything and not be against anybody's team for anything. Because if I were you, I'd be you. And I really fully accept that.
But I'm telling you, I changed my mind about almost everything in government and in law enforcement after I studied the Constitution. And I kept studying it. And it really bothered me that everyone in law enforcement swore an oath in God's name to uphold and defend the United States Constitution. And nobody understood why we took that. You ask any cop today why we take that oath.
And none follow.
Why did you take? About
the system.
20% of them would say, what oath? They don't know or understand that they even took it or remember taking it. And at one point, I was kind of that same officer, because when I started looking at the oath of office, I asked the city clerk in Provo, Utah, did I swear an oath of office? And I didn't even remember. I know at the police academy, you know, after we graduated, we swore one there. You know, my wife helped pin my badge on me and all that little ceremony, but it's just a ceremony. Okay, it doesn't mean anything. And so then when I was starting,
speaking of not meaning anything, what Angela's saying right there, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything that you're pulling drug dealers off the corner but you're leaving CVS and Walgreens there. Some people choose Rockefeller medicine. Other people choose natural medicine. Whatever you choose is your damn business, but there's no war on drugs. It's a war on poor people drugs. It's a war on seeds. It's a war on natural medicine and cures that have been handed down for thousands of years. It's all bullshit. It's all that cronyism bullshit. We will kill you if you defy our profits. There is no war on drugs, and no police follow the Constitution, let alone the Bill of Rights, because the system, it doesn't respect any of them. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights were suspended in 1871. When you lost a republic, you lost all your rights. We are all commodities to this cabal.
All over and trying to find out why I was a cop and why we have government and why do we do all these things to people. I asked the city clerk, did I swear an oath? And she goes, yes, you signed it. You signed it, Officer Mack. And I go, I did. And she handed me a copy, and I sure did. And I'm telling you, Peggy, I almost quit my job over it because I was a liar and a hypocrite. I swore an oath to something I never intended to keep, and I only swore that oath so I could have a job and a paycheck.
We are all hypocrites because the system only allows hypocrites. If you are not a hypocrite, you are not engaging in the system at all. We are all hypocrites, every last single one of us. The only difference that I can even see is some of us are fighting to hypocrite less. Absolutely. And Jonathan, another example, appreciate that. Why he said he left banking. He grew a conscience. And that's the thing, is you grow a conscience, and I'm sure you didn't do anything stupid where you didn't walk out the door that day. You grew a conscience. You knew that the industry was dirty and corrupt, and you put together a plan, hopefully, how the hell to get away from the hypocrisy of the system so you sell out less from that industry. And that's what most people, well, not most people, a lot of people I know here have done that.
So I completely started over, and I redid the oath, and I redid, and then I another one. I will never be on the wrong side again, and I will be on the side of the people. I will be on the side of liberty, and the reason that we all swear that oath is because it's required in Article 6 of the U.S. Constitution that everybody in all three branches of government, every single officer, public servant, must swear that. The judges, the president, the governors, the legislature, city councils, dog catchers, sheriffs.
That's right.
All swear an oath of allegiance to the Constitution. And why did the founding fathers put that in the supreme law of the land? So that God-given rights, natural rights, and our creator endowed rights would be perpetuated and protected forever by all government. Ask any cop.
All right, I'm gonna stop there only because I'm gonna let the conversation drive a little bit. I do want to answer Lori real quick. And Trump was no better to children than Biden is. I have to disagree with that statement. I have to disagree with this. I'm sorry. I will never put anybody in competition with somebody like Sniffy Joe, Jim Crow Joe. What he did to children with that crime bill is unimaginably horrible. And this is part of just what I saw growing up. I grew up around the kids in Washington, D.C. who were victims of that. And I have to say, and prior to that, right, even prior to the crime bill, the problems that we had on the street required love and attention. And there are very few, probably a handful of people who I could look back at and say they've done some of the most horrible things to children I've ever heard of. And taking young people ages 14 on up and putting them in boys' village, incarcerated prisons and cages because they went from selling candy in high school to selling green plants because it made more money. And a lot of them just came from really impoverished environments where mom and dad weren't home, and mom, dad wasn't home. And so mom had 4 jobs. And so mom smoked a little crack on the weekends just to deal with this bullshit. I can't agree. I have to disagree. There is nobody that has been more horrible to children. And Biden's not alone. Jim Crow Joe, he's not alone. I mean, Clinton helped him with it. The Republicans didn't stop him. They went along with it. In fact, the only reason that Clinton passed the crime bill was because he had to be tougher on crime than the Republicans. At that time, Reagan was horrible. You know, this idea that you need to be tougher on people that never had a shot. And then the Democrats had to come in and prove that they could be tougher on people. And Jim Crow Joe already had his systemically racist law ready to go. And they deployed it for votes once again, right? They convinced people that it's a good idea to put children in cages as opposed to look at the environments they're from. So I won't go there. Was Trump good on children? No, I'm not gonna go there. So that was not a swing for Trump. It was definitely not a swing for Trump. He, in that competition, in my mind, he wins by default with 6.9999999 billion other people, right? But just, you know, they work together as a team. And I think this is what Lori is saying. I agree with you, Lori. They work together as a team, right? You know, you can't have a crime bill unless the Republicans already built the prisons to put the children in, right? You can't put them in there unless you already got the police on the streets, right? Because you've been taking rights from people from the very beginning. So they all work together in a group. They all do. But I will say this, and that is, we all get triggered on certain things. My trigger is Jim Crow Joe, only because I know people who have died because of his law. And I know people who ended up with HIV, locked in prisons because of his law. And I know people who lost parents and they lost their livelihood because of that crime bill. So he hits a special place in my heart. And plus, I worked with domestic violence for a while. He wrote that VAWA law, another Violence Against Women's Act, where spousal murder went through the roof. So he just, I don't know. When it comes to children, I'm the wrong person to talk to about Tricky Joe, Jivin Bowden. And when it comes to domestic violence, I'm the wrong person to talk to. Those were two of the first laws that I ever read. And once I read that, I have nothing else positive to say about Jivin Bowden. Zero. I would take anybody. I would take Deputy Dog, Woody the Woodpecker, Yosemite Sam. I'd take anybody. That man does need to be under the prison. And I'm sorry if you voted for him. I voted for criminals too. I voted for Bush once. Was it Bush Daddy or Little Bush? I forgot which one I voted for. He needs to be under a prison. So this has nothing to do with any of that. I didn't vote for Obama. I voted for Clinton, I think. I don't remember. But he needs to be under a prison. Right? This is about integrity, whether or not we have it or we don't. The system is what has to go. But there are certain people who have done things that are just horrible. First funeral I ever went to for a child, the casket wasn't even big enough for more than one person to carry it. The guys had to put their hands together close in the one in carrying the pallbearers because it was a baby in there, hit by a gun, hit by a bullet from this war on drugs nonsense that they're doing. So yeah, I'm not the right person, yo. I'm not the right person. Don't want to do that. All right. He continues saying he doesn't remember the oath. He is retired and is doing free speech to police. Kinsey, he doesn't remember the oath. He is retired and is doing free speeches to police. I think, Andrea, what that was that he gives speeches to police that they need to honor their oath. I think he's saying that he took the oath and he just doesn't remember taking the oath. It's like, you know, getting a job. Me in corporate America, I got a job. I don't remember the employee manual. I'm pretty sure I didn't even read it. I didn't care. I just looked at the numbers like, yep, that number looked good. Took the job, let's get started. So I think what he's saying is that he signed the oath. He doesn't remember it because it's not important to police. It's not important to any of us. You know, I'm pretty sure Jonathan doesn't remember what he signed in terms of ethics and working with the bank. You just do your job. It's like a politician. I'm pretty sure they don't remember the whole $2,000 discussion. You got the money, the checks are coming. You tell me what I'm supposed to do, where I'm supposed to stand, and what I'm supposed to say. All right, that's what I think. So I appreciate him because he worked with children, and he seems like now he's trying to honor his oath. You know, like was said earlier, is that he is the most important politician. He's the one that's got the gun in the neighborhood, and he's elected. The rest, for the most part, above the state level, are just all actors, not fighting over Q, not indulging in it either. There you go. And that's that neutral stance, just a neutral stance. It's not even a thing. Q is no different than all the other groups. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Yes, they are. And I think, you know, if that's still on the Q point, I would say, Max, is that all of the groups have just enough real information they talk over, just enough passion and emotional things that intelligent people want to fix and they have interest in and passions, that they'll go along with the other stuff. They'll look past the underoos and the capes and, you know, the demagoguery and the hero worship and the stuff that doesn't happen, because they really want to believe the portions that are true. So yeah, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Save the Children was a psyop also. It was, Lori, but we can use it for something positive. You now have millions more people who actually care about children. So either they're going to like collapse from the false hope, or we're going to show them what can happen to help children. Right? So that was my point that I made on that a while ago, is that when people are resonating in a certain space and they want to help children, but they weren't helping in a way that children needed, well, then let's have a root level discussion. What do children need? And this is where, you know, we can help to people focus and say, well, you know what? Well, maybe if you love children, maybe children need land. Maybe they need food. Maybe their parents need the ability to provide for them without a grocery store, without a government, without an infrastructure. Maybe we need to go back to giving people back the land so kids can go outside and play instead of living in concrete jungles, right? Maybe children don't need to be taken from their parents if their parents' water bill or power bill or any infrastructure gets shut off. You know, it's all false hope. Everywhere is false hope. All of it is false hope. But we're either, I think, guiding people to real hope, or we're not. You know, so I think it's always a good thing. It's like the whole nuclear conversation. I'm glad it came up. So now we can actually talk about it, and people should start to care about nuclear weapons. Why? So I can say my silly stuff, which is I really don't give two damns if Iran gets a nuke. And they're like, oh my God, you don't care. Like, no, that has nothing to do with me. That doesn't change my day one bit. If the Republic of Zimbabwe gets a nuclear weapon, it means nothing to me. It means something to the billionaires that controls the narrative. You know, it means something for the colonizers, but I don't operate in that space, you know? And so to me, it fits the same thing. When something is made popular, it is a great thing. What do we do about it? It's like there's no bad press. And that gets back to Donald Trump once again. How did he win? You know, in terms of people voting, not that they even count the votes. Well, because there's no such thing as bad press. You can take that press and use it, bend it for your will, or you can let it be what it is. And he got good at taking the bad press and bending it for his will. As long as people were talking about him, he was going to win, and he's going to win again. Why? Because the DNC loves him. The DNC is trying to impeach the guy. They're making him a demigod, and there's no such thing as bad press. The more they try to impeach him, the more they make personal attacks against him, the more they resonate in that space, the more power they give him. And, you know, so to me, it's the same thing. You know, we could take something like that conversation and also twist that for the will of like solving real problems by taking people on in the team Trump and say, hey, well, you know what? Maybe the problem is we don't have a government. Maybe the problem is that it's just a corporation. Like, Trump didn't do anything good that I know of for the Rust Belt, for the poor whites. He turned on them because they blindly followed him. Same way with Jive and Bowden. He's going to turn on the minority communities. Well, he already has with the executive orders and this $2,000 stimulus, because whoever blindly supports a group are the people who that group can turn their back on, because they know you're going to vote for them no matter what. And you're going to make excuses for them no matter what as well. Well, I hope they might have saved children whatsoever. I don't think so, Christine. Most of that Save the Children stuff, like Lori's saying, it made people feel good. It just gave them hope. Like, I don't think they saved any children. I mean, there was something that happened in terms of you'd see more, you know, in the news of you know, child trafficking ring broke up or something. And that might just because we're thinking about it. That might not because they did anything more significant last year or the last 4 years than any years. We're thinking about it, so it's in the news. They know people want to hear about it, so the news does reports on it. And it could be the same rates of what they've always been doing. But at the base of that, Christine, you know, the number one profitable business in the United States Incorporated is foster care, it's human trafficking. So I don't think, you know, Save the Children did anything positive other than get people to think about or realize that human trafficking is real and it is a business and we make big money on it. And now we need to talk about foster care. We need to talk about the actual root problems of why foster care was even needed as an idea, why abuse occurs. No difference in believing in Santa. Well, you know, Lori, I think it's a little different. Santa is a fantasy character. Abuse, I think, is real. Anything emotional can be twisted. Yeah, or can everything emotional be twisted? I think everything emotional can be, because I think when you're emotional, doesn't that like disconnect your logic centers? And, you know, this is why triggering and all of this stuff happens, is that you can take an intelligent person and turn them into a pile of goo if you can trigger them emotionally. You own them. The minute you can make somebody upset or mad, they stop making logical decisions and they start making emotional decisions. Wake up and stop believing in politics. Does anybody believe in politics here still? That is the message. That is the message. Wake up and stop believing in all conflict-based everything. Anything that will turn you against anybody, stop believing in any of it. We are all one. We're all connected. 7 billion people all over this planet. And if anybody is still the groupism, it's the groupism. The message is we can solve every problem that we have at the root level, but we have to talk about the root level problems so we can talk about root level solutions and universal solutions that work for everybody. All right, I'm kind of done with that. Let's just move forward and start to wrap it up unless something else comes up important. Online involvement isn't what's needed. Go to your police department. Also get involved locally. I agree, Angela. You definitely want to get to know your police. I went to go meet mine. That's why they all know me in the little town that I live, that I'm about to leave to go find safer pastures. Go meet your police. I told everyone that when they were they're fighting with the police. Like, you know what? You want to help people. You want to help the poor people in your neighborhood. If that's black people or white people, whatever it is, go meet the police and talk to them. Tell them your concerns. Buy them a cup of coffee. You know, police are just like us, like everybody else. They're no different. They put their pants on one leg at a time. They got the same problems we have, and they got the same need for money that we have. They're corrupt as we are. They follow orders like we do. And if they know you, then they're less likely to abuse you and your kids, which is part of the reason why I went to go meet them, because they all know me. Or they don't all know me. Most of them know me. Definitely, Lori, there's no good in politics. Nope, because politics by its nature, Heather, is designed to give you the idea that you are right and your group is right and the other side is wrong. And it sends you off to fight them. It gives you an identity. So there is nothing good that comes from politics, because nothing good comes from a fight. It's a waste of time. There's nothing to fight. We all become the thing we're fighting if we're put in the right, wrong environment. Environment forges us. Used to mean everything. Words matter. It is power. We used to think you committed your soul / self to the words of an oath. I was kind of thinking about that one this morning, Jonathan. I think that Beaufont gets on every time I mention the Constitution. He gets on me. I think that the philosophies behind the Constitution, you know, the odes to those philosophies that are mostly based in sovereignty, I think that's all that kind of matters, is the oath, right? Because if you take an oath, it means you shouldn't defy that for any amount of money, to do any job, for no amount of procedures, for no new boss that came in, for no new president, for no new political parties, for no new ideas, that you should always honor that oath. I think that, yeah, it is a spiritual thing. It's a contract. You make a contract with those people and state, I will never do this against you under no circumstances. I'll lose my life before I'll break my oath. And I think that's more important than laws. Laws are just things written on paper. You know, the oaths that we have to each other, I think, are the most important. I try to do a daily live on hoping Facebook forgot it banned me from live streaming until March. And that was a problem, Lori. You were doing lives that were helpful. If you're doing things to help people, there is a price for that, that no good deed goes unpunished. Facebook didn't forget. No, they didn't. If you're trying to help people, you're a problem. You're a troublemaker. Trying to help people with consciousness, the daily own. It's terrorism. All right, appointed leaders do not have an oath, only the elected ones. They always seem to manipulate that, and people have faith in them and cannot understand that. I'd like to apply that, Angela, if I could, that the politicians, they still do take an oath to the Constitution. They're just actors. They're all political. They're all actors in a political skit, but they still have oaths, right? And if anything, I would kind of, not hope, it's the wrong word. I consider the idea that just how the police officer woke up and he realized that his orders weren't allowing him to keep his oath, I would hope that more politicians would wake up, hope being such a weird word, and realize that, well, I took an oath to the people. Why do I always get orders to do things that hurt the people? And maybe I have an oath to the people, and I'm going to start to honor that and start to defy this United States Incorporated thing, you know, and that is a whole lot of hope. That's a big bowl of hope and a bunch of other stuff. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we have to do it, Angela. But I think there are some politicians that actually know the system is sick. I know a few politicians on the lower level, and they will talk about how they're trying to work cross-party, like they're people who mean well. They don't know what the United States Incorporated is. They get a job within it, like most of us, and they realize once they get in how dirty it is. They talk about how orders come down from the top down, right? They try to work cross-party. They're trying to help. They're trying to do things in their district. They're trying to fix things, but they're always ordered from higher up. You know, these are things you can do and things are things you can't do. Here's what you can say and here's what you can't say. And that's acting. That's a skit. You know, the only way you get to the top and you become a powerful politician is you have to be good at reading a script. Oh, Lord, that's the Lord. He wanted to date his daughter. Yeah, and that's sick. That is very sick. Lori, we were talking about that on the thread where everybody's over there fussing. I wouldn't for 1 minute let Donald Trump babysit my kids. I wouldn't let for 1 minute Jive Bowden babysit my kids. But once again, there are certain things I can't go there. I can't go there. I'm sorry. Sniffing children and being a weird billionaire, they're two very different things. I don't have a fear of Donald Trump. I don't think he's a white supremacist or any of that. I grew up watching that man on TV and he was on every hip hop album. He's a weird rich dude. That's what he is. He's a weird rich dude. That's all I see. Now there could be something else that's not in the public domain. He's got pictures with Ghislaine Maxwell. So I think he was in some dirty stuff, but it's not like in my face. What's in my face right now is a grown man sniffing children. And I think that we all would do the same thing. If we saw a grown man sniffing our children, there would be some problems and consequences. Right? That's what I think, you know, but you know, it is. You are a partisan, Gerard. What does that mean? Am I a partisan? Do I pick and choose? I just don't think the United States Incorporated should work. And I think that Donald Trump is funny. That's what I think. I think he's a war criminal. I think he should be in prison, right next to Obama, right next to Jive Bowden and the rest of them. You know, but yeah, no, I don't have a team. I guess to a degree, I thought he was funny. I did. I thought he was funny. I thought that it was a joke that we took somebody who was a corrupt real estate billionaire that lost his money and put him in the White House, and everyone said that he can't run the United States Incorporated, and he did. Do I want him back? No. I want the United States Incorporated to fall. And if that makes me a Trump supporter, I guess I am. I don't want the system to work. I'd rather see monkeys and a chipmunk as the president and vice president of something that shouldn't exist. Tell that to the kids in Yemen, which is why we have to speak about things from the perspective that we do. No matter what, no matter who's in the White House, they're going to rob and blow up kids in Yemen. They're going to starve them to death. No, absolutely agree. Completely agree. But we have to be honest and say that Donald Trump prior to this was not a politician. He was a lawyer. He was a real estate tycoon that hurt people in other ways. Ivan Bowden was behind the genocide of 2 generations of a group of people. And I think that is horrible. Well, Lori, Pizzagate was discovered in 2016 and Obama was part of it too, and his crew, and it's all dirty politics. Absolutely. I agree with that. And too, Christine, I wouldn't know anything about Pizzagate if it weren't for the hashtag Save the Children people. You know, I think everybody has something to offer. I don't see what's the point of like fighting over whether someone is Q or not, they're Democrat or not, they're Republican or not, they're black and white or not. None of that matters. Everybody contributes something to the conversation. How do we take that thing and use it for the collective good of all? That's my only interest. Epstein and Trump were buddies. Absolutely. He's got pictures with Ghislaine Maxwell, and he has pictures with all the black people in the Democratic Party, from Al Sharpton to Jesse Jackson, all of them. I am not y'all are going back and forth as a partisan. I don't, I think when someone says something that you don't really like, it makes you think that they're defying you. I don't think that's what's going on here. They also, they all do suck donkey balls, and they all want to stick a Q-tip in your booty cheeks to find out if you got the cuckoo. They all do suck donkey balls. Trump definitely is bad. Oh, yes. Ooh, can't trust any of them. That is a good point, Heather. There is something. That is one really foul thing that was out there. I don't know how true it was, but the girl who said she was the age of 13 or 14. And this is what I'm saying, that, you can't have any heroes and you can't have any villains. You have a system that makes heroes and villains, and it's all false. I don't know what happened to that girl, Heather, but it was she was saying she was 14 and it was at one of the Epstein parties, and he developed a liking to her and some things transpired, and then she disappear or something. Like, didn't the court case, she dropped the charges or something? Like, there was something weird like that happened from that, Heather. And this is why it's good to point out these things. And so people who got those hero draws on, you shouldn't have them on. I get that, you feel that he was a sabotage to the system. I don't think he sabotaged the system. Me personally, I think he delayed things because he was holding out for a better deal. But once again, I don't think that you can attain certain levels of power without being dirty. I think you have to be dirty to get to the top or close to the top. Love y'all. Not going to argue politics. I don't think anybody was arguing politics. Well, let's all see it as arguing politics. If I had to put myself in that discussion, or if that's a discussion y'all are having, I look at the people who are in those offices and I speak honestly about what I think about them. And there are some people that some like and some don't like, or some like less and others like less. I think there are very real things when it comes to certain topics. And if you were an engineer, like the guy I know, building doing bathrooms in Trump hotels in New York, you can't stand Donald Trump because he screwed you. But when it comes to legislators, there's just going to be significantly more harm, no matter what we want to do. You're going to find more devastation in people who have the pens who write the laws than anybody in real estate, anybody in acting, anybody who works for a bank, a small bank, not central bank, because all the legislation is based in massive amounts of harm. I think about the tens of thousands of women who were dead, who are now gone, transcended, because of VAWA, the million or so kids who are gone because of the crime bill. the people around the world. I mean, how many tens of millions of people would still be here if it weren't for all the laws written by all the politicians, right? There's nothing to me more dark vibing and dark magic and horrid of a career to be a politician. And so I don't think it has nothing to do with Trump and Biden. It has to do with you're comparing a lifelong politician versus somebody who did like personal harm. Legislative harm is significantly more nefarious. That's my perspective. Anyway, yeah, I voted for Daddy Bush. No Obama, Clinton ever, Ralph Nader. Yeah, I did, and I did one Republican vote in my life, Heather, and that was for Daddy Bush. I think it was Daddy Bush or Kid Bush. I don't know. It's kind of a blur, Heather. They're all war criminals, so at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I admit my faults and my flaws, and I say that was horrible. I'll never do that again. I messed up. Biden, instead of embracing his son's drug use, admitting it was uniting. Yep. You know, and what was sick to me on that one, Angela, is that all the kids that he put in prison for doing the same thing his son was doing, but he's not going to put his son in prison. Now he's got pictures of it, and you can see, and you're not going to convince me that you didn't know that your son was smoking crack. You know, it's good for thee, not for me. You know, and that's just real talk. To me, that's real talk. And by the same token, it would be if one of the Trump kids was smoking drugs. Well, I guess Trump didn't write the drug laws and stuff, but I can't. I'm drawing a blank as to any laws or orders he wrote because, you know. But we do that. Powerful people all do the same things. And if Trump was born in Biden's shoes, he'd be Biden. If I was born in Biden's shoes, I'd be Biden. That's what I think. It's all environment. So fighting over people and indoctrination is kind of useless, but processing the fact that legislators, that job should not exist is real talk, because it has nothing to do with Biden. If Biden was born in the shoes of Jesse Jackson, he'd be Jesse Jackson. It's about him being a legislator, and it's about the crime bill. None of that should exist. That should completely go away. So the root problem has nothing to do with the personality, Trump or Biden. Neither of those realities should exist. Nobody should have billions of dollars on a planet that's starving. And nobody should write laws and legislation dictating to you what you should or shouldn't do that violates your sovereign rights, let alone the Constitution and Bill of Rights. You know, but this is where the identities, this is why it's important. You know, the whole Q thing and Democrat, Republican, blah, 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 white, black, because they get people to believe in the identities. And then the argument, the discussion, hopefully if it is, it's about the identity and not the actual principle. And that's how you don't change anything, is identity politics. Picking and choosing, you know, but if you just do a blood count, certain careers are bloodier than others. All right, anyway. That just shows you how he's a sellout even with his own son. Yeah, it was a horrible thing. And he's picking and choosing. You know, there are people who are dead for doing the same thing that his son did. And they sent police after him and killed him for it. And we just got to be honest about that. You know, people don't like to be honest about those kind of things. And it's just where we are. People change and get more concise. That's beautiful. Yeah, they do, Christine, when they want to. Right? When people have a passion to want to not be right, but to be just, then we modify our own behavior and we admit when we're wrong. Exactly. Now we wait for those that are burned by Q, like those who came out of Bernie's fraudulence, Debbie Lou. Yes, Max. And this is why I'm saying it, and this is why it's positive. I'm glad that we're here, is because I was explaining to the brother on the thread yesterday that, you know, Mo, he's like, I'm just surrounded by Trump supporters. I'm like, no, that's not what these people are. The vast majority of my friends on that feed, I believe, were Bernie people. They were all Bernie exiters, right? Bernie told them some things that were true. Well, let's not go that far. It's too thick. Bernie told them things that felt like root cause problems, and he did it too well. And so when he turned around and said, vote for Hillary, those people were like, oh, yeah, no, we got you. You told us if you have a sellout to never support you, you just sold out. And so most of my friends are those people. And so the beautiful thing about Q, and I'm glad that you put it in that package, that's the package it needs to be in, is now they realize they can't trust the plan. Now they realize that they were played, but they still have a passion for helping kids. That's going to create a lot of people who don't believe in the system. It's going to create a lot of anti-establishment people. And this is why I don't have an issue with it. I'm fine with the people who voted for Biden, fine with the people who voted for Trump, fine with the people who believe in Q, fine with the people who believe in all the other stuff. Black Lives Matter, whatever it is, you know, because there are a lot of people in those groups who have very real passion. And if we don't abuse them, if we don't laugh at them, joke with them too much, or make jokes of them, then I think they'll be more receptive to listening to ideas and how to solve the problems and the new passions that they have, because they realize that child trafficking is a huge issue. There was a time when that oral promise was taken sacred. Ooh, yes, there was. Because it's a vibrational thing, like Jonathan was talking about. Might be long time ago, but my father did oral contracts. He was a contractor. You know what, Christine? I think that was attached to an integrity. If you were a person of your word, you could be trusted. If you weren't a person of your word, you couldn't be. So I think if you said something and you did it, then they knew that they could depend on you. And if you didn't, then they can't. And we do need to go back to placing integrity in the people. We're not placing integrity because it's already there, but identifying those who speak with integrity and those who don't. Those who are trying to follow their oaths and those who are just trying to help their political party or trying to help their political master or the identity they're attached to. Integrity. And usually those with integrity that gain power are always killed. But it would be an awesome thing if we actually went back to having that saying that I had, or we certainly had when we were kids, which is your word is your bond, right? Your word is that indicator as to who you actually are, your character. And if your word is your bond and you speak that, hey, we're not going to do any harm, then you're not going to intentionally do any harm. And when it's identified to you that you are doing harm, you don't change. You got to be held to account. We got to go back to being those people. That would be a great thing. I don't know if we will, but you know, I don't know that I care. I mean, I do care. I'm not convinced yet, Christine, that we should even be here. We get involved in so many low vibe things that there's so much abuse on this planet. I mean, maybe we do need a reset. Sometimes my mind goes to that spot where it's like, oh, maybe reset isn't such a bad thing. I mean, how did we get to where things could be so chimpishly negative and dark? Maybe a reset would be a good. Maybe that's why the asteroids always come. Maybe the Oumuamua was an asteroid that was supposed to take us out. Maybe it was an alien spaceship. Like that Harvard, I think the Harvard professor says. Maybe it was. Maybe they just keep swinging these things around. It kind of takes pictures and determines, are we evolving? And if not, videos or something, I don't know, it just changes its trajectory and just wipes out most life on Earth. And we got to do that whole Adam and Eve story, restart civilization. I don't know. But I do know this, is that when we say a thing, we should stick to that thing. We take an oath, we should stick to the oath. And we have to go back to promoting people who honor those oaths more than people who are just trying to get paid. All right, this is George. I gotta go. What is today? Wednesday. All right, Wednesday. And we shall see you guys on Thursday. Wednesday is hump day traditionally. Happy hump day. Get out there, get your bag of cotton, get your hump on. I gotta go. Y'all have a great day, Gerard. Love you. I'm out.
Break the chains that bind me, 'cause I wanna break the chains that bind you. Do you wanna set the world free, have perfect harmony? Isn't it time for that? Do you want to free, boom, 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 free the people? Do you want to free, boom, 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 free the people from the bottom to the top? Make modern slavery stop. Do you want to let go of the prisoners? See everyone happy. We can have this and more if we open up the doors. Well, what do you think about that? Do you want to free, boom, boom, free the people? Do you want to free, boom, boom, free the people and Mother Nature too? Close down all the zoos. Do you want to boom, 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 boom? Do you want to boom, 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 boom? Do you want to free,